I'm just going to use Chess24 from now on to look at the games live. And then when I do the recap in the evening, I'll use chess.com. Hopefully this looks pretty reasonable. We were resizing everything. So instead of having the number evaluation, like 1.37, we have the bar on the side of the board, which tells you the evaluation, although you'll have to estimate, within like 2/10, I guess. So try not to be 2/10. Yeah. And so forth. So that looks pretty reasonable. And then the thing is, Chess24 has a different kind of website than chess.com. So if I accidentally move the page up or down, that totally messes it up. And I can fix it, but as long as I never do that, I'm good. And then the other game looks like this. Hopefully that looks, the same. Yeah. So I guess white's a little better according to the bar. Yeah. And so forth. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's not even that it looks great, but it has the pictures of the players better, and it has, I think those are their FIDE rapid ratings that are next to their titles. And then it has the bar, it has the time. So I guess we'll just do that. I don't do Discord notifications in the morning. I stream at 10 a.m. when the round starts. Pay attention, ICP. I've already given a Discord notification that I'm streaming every day at 10 a.m. for the next 2 weeks. Yeah. All right. So I don't think we'll be looking at Hikaru Furuja today. We'll just look at the other match. Because who cares about the Hikaru Furuja match? Yeah. All right. Good. All right. The more you donate, the more of the time you'll see. Time's not relevant, but it is to you guys. So that's the important thing. Let's see. So, the sexy merch. That's correct. That is correct. There we go. It's worst chess players ever. Rufus and Doofus. And it has my Twitch thing on it. Slightly looks like South Park. Slightly. All right. Yeah. Okay, I have to refresh the stream. And then I have to cross the streams. Oh, wait, it's don't cross the streams. Damn. What movie is that, Karen? Don't cross the streams. Ghostbusters. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. Do you have your hair cut recently? I do not. Do you play checkers? What am I, low IQ over here? Pulp Busters. Chess.com. Chess.com sort of streams the games, but, I don't think they probably don't think this tournament's very important. So, has Karen seen Ghostbusters?
In the 80s, so
Yeah, she saw it when it came out. Predictions? Pain. Yeah. Yeah, Karen did a good job making the scene. And when Karen was in her 20s, she made the scene. Oh, yeah, I didn't change the title of my stream. I knew I forgot something. Darn. I didn't do anything. I didn't do a go live notification that made any sense. That's too bad. It's ruined. I gotta fix that when I upload to YouTube. Darn, what a blunder. I always forget something. We were busy doing something, so I couldn't. Day 3. Round 3. If you refresh your stream at home, then you'll see the actual title of the stream. But you have to refresh. Yeah, and so forth. All right, we got 0 donations, bits, and subs. So it's typical stream. The round should have already started, but it did not. Let's see if there's any moves here. Nope. There's no moves anywhere. Good, good. You can see the title without refreshing? Wow, that's pretty good. Norby01 subscribed. You see the correct title? It changed? Yeah. So this is round 3. Day 5. And is that right? Yeah. I guess. Yeah. That's right. It didn't change. Yeah, it's because you didn't refresh your stream. Right. Day 1 is correct. It doesn't still say day 1. It said day 2. Day 1 is correct. It's round 3, day 1. Each round has 2 days. Thanks, Cy Bradbury. You're the best. Yeah. 69. Well, I have 356 viewers, so probably you should refresh. It's 10:02 and they haven't started yet. That's somewhat strange. Maybe chess.com has the games and chess24 doesn't. That wouldn't surprise me. Nothing surprises me. Let's see. What's your question? 1,700 subs. I lost 100 subs in 3 days. Damn. Harsh. Let's see. Terrible. White's already winning. See, White's already winning. That's why when it's Armageddon, the players choose White. I do see the scam train because I did refresh. Also, I see the number of viewers. What is the point of this tournament? What's the point of anything? All right, the game started. Magnus confused the audience by playing Alekhine defense. I would have bet a lot of money against that. And Fabi moves instantly instead of being like, wow, I can't believe he did that. And he played the super, super, super aggressive F4, which is not favored by the super GMs. So I guess Fabi decided if he ever faces the Alekhine defense, which he never does, he's going to play something really sharp and have it memorized because his opponent would probably think he wouldn't do that. Okay, so F4 is unusual. At the top level, at your level, it's probably the most common. So black has a couple ways of playing. One is to fianchetto the bishop, and one is to not fianchetto the bishop. And when I had black and Alekhine defense, which I played occasionally as a teenager, I would play the line where you take on e5 and play knight c6, bishop f5, e6. And my bishop would come out, either to b4, e7. I didn't play the g6 line, which is also common. All right. So there's an opening we didn't suspect. It's not a good opening for black, but it gets Fabiano out of his 25 moves of prep. DB Cooper subscribed. Good, good. A lot of American players played Alekhine a lot. Lev Alred played it every game. And Joel Benjamin and Alexander Shabalov play it occasionally. But otherwise, grandmasters don't play it. Okay, let's see if... okay, so this is basically all of Hikaru's games this tournament have gone the same way when he's black. So this position occurred today in the banter blitz with Anish Giri. And his opponent played a6. He's like, a6, that's irrelevant. That has nothing to do with anything. Roar! He was furious. And the guy was rated like 1,100. So, man, he showed that guy. Okay, so this is all of Hikaru's games this tournament. Right, and bishop a6. Yeah, against Magnus in the first game, he played bishop b7, queen c8, bishop a6. Then he improved with bishop a6 in the next game. So Hikaru gets a little better every game. Okay, knight a4. So this is not what Magnus did. I think Magnus played rook c1 here. And rook c1 doesn't make a lot of sense because about 4 moves later, Magnus put the rook back on a1, and then they traded rooks. So rook c1 is sort of weird when black's going to play ab and then open the a file. So knight a4 is Ferrugia's improvement over Magnus's play in his game with Hikaru from about 4 days ago, I guess, 3 days ago, something. And Hikaru's thinking, not his strong suit. By the way, Grishik said something funny, which is obvious because everything he says is funny. Somebody asked him in one of the games that Nepomniachtchi was playing, either yesterday or the day before, I don't know. It was move like 29 maybe, and Nepomniachtchi had like 13, 14 minutes left. Even though he started with 15 minutes, he was playing on the increment. And somebody asked Grishuk, if you're playing a slow game, do you normally have more or less that much time when you get to move 29? And he says, oh, I've never had that much time. That would be great. He was like contemplating having 15 minutes left on move 29. He was like, wow. This is a rapid game and they still have more time than Grishuk. So, all right. So Magnus is playing very strange. Bishop e6. That's can't possibly be a good move. Normally the bishop goes to f5, or if white plays knight f3, black plays bishop g4. That's why Fabi's not playing knight f3. So black can't play bishop g4. Occasionally, more than occasionally, black moves the bishop to f5, and then after knight f3, then plays bishop g4. But Magnus played bishop e6, and Fabi ignored the attack on his pawn, because if you would take the pawn, you're going to run into queen a4 check at some point. So, very unusual play by Magnus, and Magnus isn't playing faster than his opponent, which is the whole point of playing an unusual opening. Now, we do need 5 gifted subs in the next 15 seconds. The train's going to die otherwise. So, if somebody wants to give 3 or 4 subs now, the train's going to die on level 2. Such good support. All right, the train has died on level 2. Boo. You guys are the worst. You guys tried and you failed miserably. The lesson is never try. Yeah. It's the scam train. It wasn't much of a scam. Pretty bad scam. Thanks, Hi Bradbury. I will get a better train going next time. 4 subs, 900 bits. Man, that train, that train must be the train that's bringing the pieces to the wall or something. All right, so this is a very bad position for Magnus. And not only is it bad, he's 3 minutes behind on the clock. And the point of playing the Alekhine defense is it's a surprise weapon. You play it once every 2 years, your opponent's like, whoa. And then they're like, what, I prepare against that? And Fabi just moved instantly and has a big advantage. So that didn't work. Yeah. I don't think Magnus is going to play Alekhine defense anymore this tournament. All right. And then Firouzja's game is more theoretical. Knight a4. Then Hikaru took a big think. Traded on d3. b5. Good. The knight retreated. Always retreat. Queen b7. Black wants to trade on b4 and then trade all the rooks on the a file. And Hikaru keeps playing bishop d8 to c7. I guess he likes it. And white's a little bit better, but nothing special. Hikaru keeps playing this line, so he must think it's okay for black. And Magnus isn't going to move. You're 1332. Are you the strongest player in Kansas? Probably. Thanks, Face Chew. Big bunny, big bunny, big bunny. No whammy, stop. $3. Yay, thanks, Bonarici. Every 5 minutes on the stream, somebody asks why I wasn't invited to the tournament. And I always say I was invited to the tournament. And then 5 minutes later, they say, why weren't you invited to the tournament? So I declined my invitation so I could do commentary for you guys. Okay, so Magnus castled. So now the c4 is under attack because there's no queen a4 check. So Magnus played b3, or also known as Fabiano. You can't tell them apart. White doesn't really want to play d5 because then the e5 pawn is less defended. White wants to keep his big center. Okay, and Magnus took. And white can actually take all 3 ways. They're all fine. The engine prefers to take with the d pawn, but nothing wrong with any of them. So for the first time in the game, he's thinking, and he did take with the d pawn. So white has a big positional advantage. He's basically crushing this knight on b6. The knight has nowhere to go any good. Bishop on g7 is no good. White has more space. But black has all his pieces out. And he's black, so what do you want? Give him a break. So very nice position for white. Good opening by Fabi. Magnus's preparation, not great. Playing a surprise opening, but not getting anything out of it. And Firouzja's thinking a long time about bishop d8. It's funny because every game previous to this, Hikaru played bishop d8 to c7. And after he plays bishop d8, Firouzja seems perplexed. Possibly he was expecting Hikaru to trade on b4, trade the rooks, play rook a8, and then play bishop d8. But Hikaru probably doesn't want to trade the rooks and play rook a8. I think Hikaru wants to play rook e8 and e5. Okay, knight b3. That's the point of knight d2. Force black to make a decision here. Joker subscribed. The tooth hurts. Correct. Let's see. Is this an online game? Sure, why not? $30 from H. Zurich. Good. The biggest donation of my life. Usually I get $2.01. Go Ben is correct. Good morning is correct. Everybody's correct. So here we have the matchups that people like to see. Firouzja Naka and Caruana Carlsen. So far, the white players, Firouzja and Caruana, have time advantages over their opponents. White is slightly better in both games, probably a little bit more better in Caruana's game than Firouzja. And like that. At the moment, Firouzja's tied for last with Giri. And Carlsen and Caruana are tied for first. That's after 2 rounds, and there's 5 more rounds to go. Each round takes 2 days, so we have a long way to go. And even after they play the round robin, and each player's played 28 games over 13 days, then the tournament's half over. Then they get rid of 4 players, and they play like knockout matches or something. Okay, Naka played A4, blocking up the queen side. And now it's going to be a big fight to see whether black plays e5 first or white plays e4 first. And there's a small chance they'll both play their breaks with e5 and e4. That'll be exciting. Okay, knight d2. So white has more space, so he's slightly better. And black's really solid. Black traded his white squared bishop with bishop a6, bishop takes d3, and then put all his pawns on white squares. Okay, of course I prefer white because white has a lot more space. And let's see. Played knight c6. Now in this position, the engine just wants to develop bishop e2, and then either castle or play king f2 and trade queens and be slightly better. But Fabi played for more. Played knight e4. He wants to play knight c5. The engine doesn't like this idea, but it seems pretty normal. The reason the engine doesn't like it is white's king is on e1, and I tell my students before they do active operations, they should develop in castle. And black has all his pieces developed, and he's castled, and white doesn't have all his pieces developed, and white didn't castle. So if white plays bishop e2 and then castles, then he could play like knight e4 to c5. But Fabi did it immediately. And close your eyes, don't look, f6. Trying to open up the center when white's king is on e1. And Fabi played knight c5, the point. And the problem is white's wasting a lot of time to improve his position before he's castled and developed. White's bishop's on f1, white's king is on e1, white's rook is on h1. And white's doing things that are very active. So the engine thinks black is fine now by playing queen c8. And even though white can get the 2 bishops, white's king could get into some peril, and e5 is under attack. This is the whole point of the Alekhine defense, is you have white move all of his pawns forward, and then if you're black, you try to take them all and bust it up. Okay, so that's what happened. He played queen c8, and now e5 is attacked like 300,000 times. And the engine thinks white could just play bishop e2 and sack the pawn, since after taking on e5, g5 is weak. Thanks for the 200 centidues. He took on f6, though. And the engine says black is perfectly fine. Of course, white's going to have a little better pawn structure, and he's going to have a nice knight on c5, and black has a bad knight on b6. However, white's king is in the center, and Fabiano plays a very unusual exchange sacrifice. Instead of moving his rook, like rook c1, the engine move, he plays bishop e2, sacrificing the exchange, saying that white has all the dark squares, black's king is exposed. Maybe he likes sacking the exchange like I do. Black played rook d8. That's the engine move. Queen c1. And Magnus doesn't take the exchange. Magnus plays bishop f5. One of the reasons not to take the exchange, from Magnus's point of view, is that rook is trapped anyway. So if he wants to take the exchange later, he will. Instead, he's making sure that Fabi can never play knight takes e6. So the engine says black is better, but both sides are out for blood. And very surprising 6-7 minute time advantage for Fabiano. That's pretty surprising. And the engine doesn't like the way he's playing, but you play 15-minute chess, it's good to play quickly. So, all right. And Firouzja decided to stop Naka from playing e5 by playing f4. It's pretty blocked up. King h8, indicating that Naka wants to play rook g8 and g5. The engine doesn't like that move very much. It actually wants to play g6 in this position. And now it wants white to play e4, but he prepared e4 some more, also good. And the only thing for white really to do is to play e4. He's got his knight on c3, his knight on d2, his queen on d3, his rook on e1. So he's preparing e4. So Naka puts his rook on d8, getting ready for e4. And the only other plan white has is to push all his kingside pawns insanely, g4, g5, h4. And Firouzja does stuff like that. So white has a lot more space, but if he pushes his pawns too quickly, he could get in trouble. And e4 is a big decision. It changes the nature of the position. So if he does play it, he's going to have a big think and make sure he likes it. Of course, after e4, if you let white play e5, you're getting really strangled. And if you take it, white has a good chance to get a knight to d6, which is obviously very strong. Okay, so he decided to play g4 instead. The other plan, it's very hard to find active counterplay for black. And normally, black doesn't play a5, a4, b5 on the queen's side. Normally, black takes on b4 and gets the a file, or fights for the a file, because then if white plays f4, g4, then black can put his rooks down the a file and get some counterplay. Now, there is no play for black on the queen's side, so white's concentrating on the king's side. So better for white. And after bishop f5 castles, Magnus wants to get rid of the knight on c5 and get rid of his knight on b6. Yeah, and this just seems good for black because white's pieces are sort of strange, and black can win the exchange whenever he wants. 500 centidues. Thanks, JC Kaz. And finally, Magnus said, I had all I can stands. I can't stands no more, and took the exchange. Now, if white doesn't want to lose the exchange, white can play rook b1 next move, which obviously the bishop on f5 could have taken it before knight d3. So this is his last chance really to take it. And white has good compensation for the exchange. Does he have enough? I don't know. The rook on a8 is pretty stupid. You could play a5, a4. Black's king doesn't look super unsafe to me. I mean, Black's king looks okay. It's hard for white to get his pieces in there. So very enterprising play from Fabi. Knight f6. Good, good. And then knight to e5. Knight takes. The engine wants to take with the pawn. Taking with the pawn is weird because you're blocking your queen on a1 and you're taking away the e5 square for a piece. So a more human move is to take with the knight, which is what he did. Queen e6 makes sense. And the engine thinks black is slightly better. Black's up in exchange, but black can't really activate his rooks. And white's minor pieces are pretty good. Black has an isolated pawn. White has the dark squares. But he's up in exchange. Always sack the exchange. I never thought I would see a 15-minute game between Fabiano and Magnus where Magnus was down 6 minutes on the clock. That's very strange. If anything, Magnus has been playing too quickly this tournament, and Fabiano always plays slow, and slowly. Okay, he played knight g8. That's actually the engine move. Black wants to play probably f5 and block it up. The knight can also go to e7, and the other knight can go to f6. So knight g8 actually makes sense. Knight f3. He'll probably play knight e7 here. And, white's obviously just better. White has more space everywhere. What's going on here? Let's see. All right, having big arguments with people, if you can call them people. All right, so knight e7, etc. All right, getting the smackdown over here, plus tax. All right, so knight f3, knight e7, as expected. And, white has more space everywhere. There's no forced win. It's just unpleasant for black. So very solid play from Firouzja, who sometimes plays a little not solid. Yeah, something like that. All right, and then back to this game. He played bishop to d4, knight d7. Whoa, what's going on? That's how this system works. Bishop f3. He played h3. Okay. Guess he wants to play g4. Takes looks good. Takes looks good. c6 is a funny move when you can play rook d2. I was just complaining that black's rooks weren't effectual And he could play rook d2, attacking the bishop, putting his rook on the 7th rank. That's a pretty good rook, but he decided not to. Magnus played c6. And now the engine doesn't like that move for the same reason I don't, because now black can be prevented from playing rook d2 by queen c3. And that's exactly what happened. Okay, now here, I would assume black's better, but the engine says white's better. And after rook d2, the engine said black's better. I mean, it's that big a difference? Maybe it is. I mean, black's rooks are no good. Black's rooks are no good. I'm pretty surprised he didn't play rook d2, because after the bishop moves away from e2 or is defended, you can't kick the rook out. If you play queen c3 or queen c1 or queen e1, the a2 pawn's hanging, or I could double rooks. And if you play bishop c3, the queen can go to e3 with check. The rook has c2. If necessary, the rook can just go back to d7. So it's sort of weird that Magnus didn't play rook d2 there. I mean, that's a 15-minute game, and he's got 5 minutes left, so I don't know. I guess he's playing faster now, but not as accurately. Okay, so now g4 might actually be serious. So he played h5, cementing his bishop on f5. And then rook e1, lining up the rook with the queen. That seems pretty reasonable. King f7, that's actually the engine move. And even though black's up in exchange for no pawns, sounds good, the black rook just can't do anything. Black can't play rook d6, black can't play rook d5, black can't play rook d4, rook d3, rook d2, rook d1. Okay, and having said that, Fabi lets Magnus play rook d2. So the engine doesn't like it. Queen I guess black doesn't want to play rook d2 and white doesn't care. The engine says play rook d2, and it doesn't like queen g3. That is confusing to me. I don't know why. I guess he wants to get his queen in here. I don't think this ever works with the idea of takes queen g7 check. That doesn't seem like it works to me. Yeah, so queen g3 is, okay, he played rook d2. I agree. Yeah. All right, so very unusual position. Fabiano's playing super aggressively, and Magnus is playing super slowly. So there you go. No, chess.com's not down again. We decided to do this, although we may have to change our decision. Because a lot of times the games aren't being shown before the round starts. The clocks aren't shown. And yesterday I couldn't get the Armageddon games. So I thought this would just be much more relaxed. Yeah. And so forth. Yeah, okay. So Fabi played bishop f3, which the engine does not like. It wants to play c5 and then try to play bishop c4. Obviously, trying is the first step to failure. I mean, c5, bishop c4 makes sense. Bishop f3, the problem is the bishop is very safe. It defends the g2 pawn, so there's no danger later in that instance. But the bishop can't really go anywhere. I can't play bishop g4, bishop d5, etc. Okay, so he played rook to d3, pinning the bishop. And, well, the engine keeps changing its evaluation because black could play rook d2 and he didn't. Then white stopped rook d2, so it liked white. Then white's like, play rook d2. I don't care. Then it liked black. I'll tell you what I do like. I like the fact that Fabiano's up 4 minutes on the clock, because normally I would expect the opposite when these two players are playing. Thanks for the sub, Bauer and Salad. Let's see if... Okay, so black played f6. Never play f6. The engine doesn't like f6. Generally, the top players in the world don't sit back and lose. They fight. So Hikaru's going to either play g5 or e5 and try to fight. And he's also stopping white from playing knight e5. Obviously, f6 is really weakening, but, you know. Also, the engine really doesn't like f6. I mean, obviously never play f6, but the engine hates f6. Hikaru is one of the few super GMs who likes playing f6. So, along with Eric Rosen, who's not a super GM, but yeah, and so forth. All right. These guys both have 4.5 minutes, and White's had a big advantage the whole game. But usually when players get down to 1 or 2 minutes, they just play reasonable moves and not super accurate. So obviously anything can happen. And what's going on here? He played queen g5, unpinning his bishop. Magnus finally moved his rook on move 28. The engine is not a fan of queen g5. See, the problem is now with the queen on g5, Fabi has to watch out for rook takes bishop and bishop takes h3 because the pawn on g2 is overworked. When the queen was on g3, that wasn't important. So the engine's actually playing queen g3 here, which obviously wasn't his intention when he played queen g5. He wants to play queen h6 and do some stuff. So even though the engine likes black, all three results are possible because the game is very strange. It's not really a game you would expect humans to start playing the best moves every move, especially when they're down to so little time. Speaking of not playing the best moves, a move the engine hates, king f2. So the point of king f2 is actually to defend against what I just said, which is the bishop on f3 and the pawn on h3 are defended only by the pawn. Now the bishop is defended by the king. Fabi doesn't want to retreat his queen. He wants to get his queen in there. So he's using his king to defend. Magnus played rook d2 check. I'm not sure if Fabi will play king g1 or king g3. The engine plays king g1, but king g3 looks more human to me because you're keeping the bishop defended. It looks pretty safe on g3. To me, it does. So, yeah. And like so. And in fact, the chess engine didn't like rook d2 check. It just wanted to play a5, a4, and attack the queen side since black's queen's on e6. Okay, so he did play king g3, which is what I would have played, and the engine says double question mark blunder, that king g1 was okay and king g3 loses. I guess playing a move I suggested isn't a good idea. Magnus correctly played rook d3, and it says that white's completely lost. Okay? Those rooks do look good, I agree. Played queen h6, and now bishop takes h3 wins immediately. Shirov style because there's a checkmate. Let's see if he played it. He did, and the game's over. If you take it, I have rook takes f3 check, and queen takes a3, h3 check, and queen d3 mate. So yeah, somehow Magnus got all four of his pieces attacking the white king, and Fabiano had this one idea, which doesn't work, because if you keep checking the king, you check the king to safety to d7. King on d7 is fine. If it's black's move here, black plays queen g4 check, winning immediately. So Fabi just missed bishop takes h3 because it just wins instantly. So king g3 was a mistake because of this, but queen h6 compounded the mistake because he just missed a simple tactic. So Magnus is going to win this game. So yeah, king f2, king g3 was bad. Although king g3 is what I would have played. I would have lost the same way. Yay, I'm the best. Something like that. A very strange game. Magnus didn't play rook d2 when he could have. Fabi stopped it with queen c3. Then the engine thought white was fine, or better. And then he's like, you could play rook d2, that's okay. See, Magnus psyched him out because when he didn't play rook d2 the first time, Fabi thought, well, Magnus doesn't want to play rook d2. So he didn't really care about stopping it after that. Do I believe that? No, not really. Okay, so bad for Fabi the first game. And this game went all heck broke loose, and the heck was good for Naka. So he did play e4. The engine says e4 is really bad because it weakens the f4 pawn. It says it was the wrong time to play e4. The right time would have been after moving this knight, because then the rook on f1 would protect the f4 pawn. So Naka correctly played knight g6, and f4 pawn's pretty weak. So e4 was a mistake. It was the wrong time. And the engine said these moves are all correct. Okay. And it says this is equal. Queen takes d6. That's the right move. I'm sure both players saw this. And he played knight h4. The engine just wants to play the very simple rook takes e6 and says white is slightly better. But he didn't do that. Probably he thought Naka would play knight f4, attacking his rook and the h3 pawn. The engine still prefers white there. Instead, he played knight h4, which stops knight f4, because the rook is defending it, threatens to win the exchange, and threatens rook takes e6. There's a very simple solution to all these things, and that's rook e8, defending the pawn on e6 and stopping knight g6 check, winning the exchange. So the only calculation that has to be made as far as these guys are concerned is whether this knight gets trapped and whether I can win this pawn on d6. The thing is, black has g5 attacking the knight on h4, and then the knight has the f4 square. Otherwise, that knight's probably trapped and black's losing. But, okay. So he did play g5. And then, yeah, the problem is this d pawn's probably just going to get captured as opposed to promote. Okay, this is considered slightly better for black or equal. Okay, the engine does not like e5. The engine plays a move I would never consider, f5. And then after e takes f5, knight f6. That's not very human. Okay, e5 is more human. Okay, and he's thinking, and once again it likes white. D takes e5, and the rook is defending the d pawn. So maybe he won't lose his d pawn. So that's why it doesn't like e5. It helps white defend his d pawn. Normally, when you see trade, you would assume it's going to be a draw, but the engine likes white because the d pawn hasn't been captured yet. I thought that d pawn was going to be captured, but after e5 takes, my rook's defending it. So the engine doesn't like e5. Bauer and Salad, gifted 6 subs. Good. D August 1 or something, Doug Stone. That makes more sense, subscribed. Okay, takes, knight e4, attacking and defending. King g7, knight g3, wants to play knight f5, who can blame him? And Nakamura has more time by about a minute and a half, but his position's worse because the pawns are even, and obviously my d6 pawn's better than your c6 pawn, and my knight can go to f5 or h5, and my rooks are active. So basically, black is really playing for a draw here. It's much worse position. And e5 was the culprit. Let's see if he resigned yet. Okay, he did resign. The game ended. King h4, rook g2, and he resigned. Yeah. Well, he took a king walk, king f2, king g3, king h4, then he resigned. Truth hurts. So yeah, the last 6 moves of that game, Fabiano's going to want to forget. The first, 25 moves were okay. The last 6 moves were not good. All right, so Magnus is on the board, and this looks like a very good position for Firouzja. Okay, c5. Hikaru following my sage endgame advice. When you're worse in an endgame, trade all the pawns off, and that's the easiest way to draw. So if there's no pawns on the board, then Firouzja won't win. Also, black has 3-2 over there, so black's trying to create a passed pawn. Knight f5, the king on h7 defends the h6 pawn, and so forth. White could play knight e7, threatening knight c6. White could play king f2, bringing his king up. And the compensation Nakamura has for his worst position is the extra minute on the clock. All right, let's see. What's the chat say? Nonsense, more nonsense. All right, good. 1,000 viewers a do. Okay, white play B takes C5, not the engine's first move. Of course, the engine doesn't care about black playing C4, but human does, because the pawn on C4 is a protected passed pawn. So taking on C5 is very logical from a human perspective. And now the engine says it's equal, because, this pawn on D6 is obviously stopped by the rook of the knight. And now our 2-to-1 majorities look a little better. Rook C3, rook takes A3. Okay, king G2, makes sense. So the engine thinks this should be a draw. It slightly prefers white, but black has an extra minute. So all three results are possible and will happen. A blunder ends the game. Either side can make a one-move blunder, walking into a knight fork or something, and then the game's over. So at this point in the game, it's hard to play really accurate because there's so many possible reasonable moves. Okay, knight e5, very active. Firouzja's down to 1 minute. Remember, the players get a 10-second increment. He doubled up on the bubble up. Now, the engine doesn't like that move because if black plays rook c3, as I indicated earlier, to attack the a3 pawn, well, he can't put either rook on d3 because the knight's on e5. So it doesn't like that move. It says after rook c3, not only is the game a draw, but black is a little bit better. So the advantage is passing back and forth this game. But I think Firouzja's probably more concerned about the clock. I think when Firouzja gets down to 20 seconds, he's going to hope that Nakamura also has 20 seconds and not a minute and 20 seconds, because that's more annoying. Putting lots of rooks behind his passed pawn. Now, Naka's worried if he plays rook c3 and rook takes a3, that white's going to play d7, and the pawn's pretty close to queening. So that's a scary thought. So Naka's thinking, should I play rook d7 and blockade the pawn? But he correctly plays the engine move, rook c3. So, okay, rook d5. And they're probably going to trade pawns on a3 and b5. The fewer pawns on the board, the more likely it's a draw. And rook b7 check is pretty annoying. So you would expect rook b3 here. He played rook d7. Also possible. And this looks like it should be a draw, but, in the time situation they have, anything could happen. There's material they're trading pawns. They both have passed pawns. So Firouzja's doing a good job of catching up on the clock. He's only behind 20 seconds now. He was behind over a minute. 1,100 viewers? Good. So Firouzja had a big advantage and a big space advantage. He played e4 when it was ill-timed, and that let Nakamura equalize more or less. And since then, both players aren't playing perfectly, but pretty good. And finally, Firouzja has more time. Wow. Crazy like Fox News. Yeah, Nakamura's trying to figure out, should I play rook b3? Should I play rook d3? Should I move my king over there? And he plays rook b3. I'm expecting rook a5. Obviously, he's analyzing rook takes, and then, or rook takes, pawn takes, and then move the rook somewhere, like b2. Okay, he played rook a5, a3. The engine says a3 is a blunder. A3 is a really logical move. It wants to play rook d3 instead. So rook d3 has a funny point. If white plays rook c7, I can take this, because the rook on c7 isn't protected then. So now, obviously, white's going to play rook c7. That's why white played rook c2. and he does. I think black has to play rook b7, and he hasn't moved yet. And they both have 40 seconds. So the engine likes white here because if you play rook b7, I could just trade rooks and take on a3. So a3 was a very bad move for Hikaru. He's probably really mad now. But probably Hikaru didn't see rook d3, rook takes d6. Maybe that's why. He probably didn't see that idea. Okay, rook check. Now the engine just says white's winning. I'm not sure why this is more winning than just rook b7 for black. And black can play rook b7 next move. So, I don't know. Anyway, all three results are still possible because both sides have no time. So, anything could happen. There's a tricky line that I'm seeing in my head where if you trade on c7 for black and play rook c2 and white plays rook a7, he can, it says the game's over, but I don't know why. He thought 41 seconds and his time ran out? That's strange. Oh, I bet you I know what happened. I'm not even kidding either. I'll bet you Firouzja lost his internet connection. Because I know yesterday Firouzja had some problem with his internet. He started his game late with a couple days ago maybe. It's possible Firouzja lost internet and lost the game. That's my guess. Yeah. Because he had issues before. He had issues a day or two ago. So that's, I mean, I'm not watching the video of the game, but that's, I moved that. I'm not supposed to move that. That was dumb. Did I mess everything up? Probably. All right. So I'm guessing he lost the internet. I'm guessing, I don't know. I mean, you wouldn't think 40 seconds here. Just move your king. So, yeah. I'm not sure if that's what happened, but I don't know what else could have happened. Yeah. Well, either Firouzja just didn't move, which is weird, or his internet connection went out. Now that makes more sense. Also, sometimes your internet connection doesn't go out, but you can't make a move on the site. That happens sometimes. Yeah. See, now chess.com is mad at me right now for showing this game on chess24 and I'm getting yelled at. But now they should be pretty happy because they're like, look at that terrible site. Come to our site. See? Chess24 says game will be resumed with the game time. Damn, Hikaru's getting it every round. They're cheating Hikaru every round this tournament. God damn. Yeah, that happens. Sometimes on chess.com, I can't move or Karen can't move on her site, but the internet works. That doesn't happen to me very often. It happens to Karen more. I don't play as much. You know, she's playing more, not streaming. I don't play that much. Yeah, man, they're getting Hikaru every round. They're like, okay, Hikaru, here's what we're going to do. Damn. Yeah. So, I don't know. Every site has their issues. But I find it very funny, if true, I'm not saying it's true, I heard it was true, that the players aren't playing on Chess24. They're playing on a separate server. And Chess24 showing the game. That doesn't make any sense. If that's true, that sounds like Chess24 should improve their site if they can't get the players to play on their site. And no, Lee Chess also went down a couple weeks ago, and they were like apologizing on Twitter. Everybody has their problems. Yeah. So what's happening? What's happening here? Yeah, I don't know what to do. All right. I'm playing on Regium, yeah. No, I'm sure... no, Wrench isn't yelling at me. I'm sure Magnus is really upset. Magnus doesn't want problems in this tournament. Like the site's not working. The arbiters talking to the players on Zoom during the game, telling them to abort. That's not what Magnus wants to see. The name of this tournament's the Magnus Carlsen Invitational. I don't think he wants to see arbiters getting involved every round and the site not working. So I'm sure he's pretty pissed. Yeah. Man, the truth hurts. I mean, Magnus is playing his own game. He just played Car 1. He's got to play 3 more games at least. What? They're playing the second game? They're playing the second game. All right. Wow. I guess Magnus doesn't care. All right. This is Magnus versus Fabi. Queen's Gambit accepted by transposition. All right. I've played this position for white much more than I have with black. Yeah. Very suspicious. All right, so they've transposed into some normal line. Yeah, Fabiano's played the QGA. I don't know what's going on in this other game. I don't even know if I can watch it anymore. All right, no. Tough tournament to watch. Can't watch it on any site. Damn. Harsh. The truth hurts. All right. Nothing works. Everybody's mad at everybody. People are mad at me. Yay. The more you donate, the less I care. So there you go. Okay, 95. Guy, 100 cents to dues. Anarchy. All right. So Magnus played 95. Bishop to d7. Normally, black wants to play knight to b4 and bishop c6. But Magnus didn't allow it. Took the bishop. And then d5. So Magnus is playing for the smallest of advantages. He's getting rid of his isolated pawn. He's trading everything. And he's saying, I have the 2 bishops, what else? Okay. And the engine does not agree. The engine says black is at least equal. So, I mean, the engine move here, which I don't understand, is rook a d8. And it's not playing knight takes e7 check. 2 bishops against 2 knights. Okay. If that's what you think. Anyway, white's a tiny bit better. White's going to have a basically drawn kind of pawn structure with the 2 bishops. But Magnus thinks he can win this ending, but I don't think he's going to win it against Fabi. I mean, it's pretty equal. I mean, I take white if I have to take somebody, because white has 2 bishops. And black has the b4 square. Everything's traded. The bishop on f6 is pretty good. So it's just equal. This isn't a way for white to get an advantage. This is a way for white to get that much advantage. Maybe Magnus would beat me, but I can't imagine. If Fabiano loses this position, then he's got to stop playing the QGA. This is sort of like a dream, etc. The engine's not a big fan of trading queens on d7 because you could trading queens on d5. You could let white trade queens by playing like rook to d8. Then the bishop wouldn't be on this great d5 square. Anyway, since Magnus won the first game, this seems like a very good decision. A position he can't possibly lose, and he has small chances to win. Okay. I don't know what's happening in this other game. Resuming where? How do I do it? Is there a way to do it? I don't know. Go to game 2. No. Game 1. Yeah, I don't know what to do. If they start, I don't know how to look at it. I don't know what to do. If you guys see them restart, let me know in the Faruja Nakamura game. Yeah. Resuming according to Chess 24 stream. They're still debating how they handle it. I think Faruja's connection got lost. Possibly not due to his internet connection. I don't know what happened. This is round 4, and Chess 24 has already had 2 debacles. There's this debacle, then there's the Magnus versus Hikaru debacle from the Armageddon in round 1. So, I don't know. There's a lot more time going in this tournament, so hopefully there's no more debacles. All right, yeah, the engine really likes white here. I mean, I like white. I like 2 bishops. I'm not going to argue. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Yeah. They do have rules, but don't call them Shirley. Yeah. Either these are really controversies, they're huge controversies. These things don't happen in these tournaments. Yeah. This isn't like, a tournament with 800 people where there's 400 doofuses. This is this is a $250,000 tournament with the world champion and all the best players in the world. And every round there's something suspicious. So it's always happening to Hikaru also. Isn't good. Yeah, I don't know how to follow the game if they replay it. I don't know what to do. I'll just stay here until you guys tell me something. All right, so the engine wants to take on c6 and trade everything, and black has 2 isolated pawns. And, white has some winning chances. The other idea is to play king e2 and try to win that endgame after the doubling of the rooks. And the same thing happens with no rooks on the board. No, b2 is hanging also. See, before if bishop takes b2, I could play rook b1 and rook takes b7. But now the rook on d7 is defending b7. So this may be the time to play bishop takes c6. It's a big decision because it changes the nature of the game. That's why Magnus is thinking so long. Yeah. So I don't know. Okay, he decided to maintain his bishops. 200 centidues. What happened to Naka earlier? You're talking about round 1? In round 1, about 4 days ago, Naka played Carlsen. They tied their match 2-2. And then the arbiters seemed to get confused in the Armageddon and thought the clocks were wrong because the clocks were wrong, but not for the players, but for the spectators. So the arbiter thought the game should stop, and it was near the end of the game. And he texted Hikaru on Zoom and said, this game will be aborted, which was not true. And then at that very moment, when he was talking to Hikaru on Zoom, Hikaru made a very bad move and lost. So, yeah, there was a clock issue, but I'm not sure that the players noticed it or affected the players. Anyway, okay, so black could either double up on the bubble up or play knight to d4. Those seem to be his 2 options. The Ali Reza thing, It's not clear whose fault it is, if it's his fault or chess 24. I'm not so sure about that. Yeah. Gregovsky, that's sort of correct. Yeah. Sort of. Yeah, that's not clear either, Yep Chess. The move he made was pretty bad. And King H1 was a lot better than King F1 at that point. Anyway, we'll never know if it affected the game, but it probably didn't affect the result. Also, Magnus had draws that game because Magnus was black. So it's very unlikely that affected the result of the game. Very unlikely. All right, 1,100 viewers. So Magnus is slightly better, and I don't understand what's going on in the other game. It's still the same position with still the same result. Okay, so I don't know what's happening over there. Hello. What website is this? Good question. It's Chess 24, I think. Although, I guess in Ali Reza's case, he doesn't know what's going on. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people prefer black in the Armageddon rules. However, yesterday in the Armageddon, MVL won the coin toss and decided to take white and then lost in about 2 minutes. But so there you go. Is bishop e3 better or worse than taking on c6? Well, Magnus thought bishop f3 was better. Does that answer your question? It doesn't, but they both give white a nice advantage. So, I mean, they're probably very similar. Okay, so they traded. Magnus could once again take on c6 if he wants. It seems like if he didn't take on c6 last move, he won't now, but I'm not sure if he has a choice. I mean, bishop takes b2 is probably an idea now. He didn't. He played rook c1. Rook d6. All right. Yeah, this is unpleasant for black because black has back rank issues. Black has b7 issues. White has two bishops. So it seems like it's 50-50 whether it's a win or a draw. Anyway, this is a Magnus type position. I think after white played d5 to trade off his isolated pawn, Fabi didn't play the absolute best way. Why not rook a2? Yeah, rook a2 is pretty passive. Yeah, you don't want your rook on a2. You want your rook, rawr. You want to spin like this. Yeah, this is unpleasant for black. Very unpleasant. Yeah, I think Fabi's only hope is if Magnus stops playing the game and Giri takes over, then I think black is okay. Yeah. This is still sitting here. How about their next game? Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, let me know if anything happens. Naka won so far, but they might say he didn't win and continue the game. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what happened in Naka's first game. I'll tell you in about an hour. Who am I disrespectful? Who what? What did I do? I think I'm not voting for Eduardo for president. Have you ever played Magnus? Obviously. If you and Giri play, would it be a draw? Obviously. Let's see. Giri's the best at something. All right. Let's see. Who's Magnus? Correct. All right. Good chat. Good chat. Okay, he played g5, and the engine says bishop c5 is giving white a winning advantage. Bishop c5 looks pretty good. Then b5 and bishop d5. Yeah, it looks good. This is a vintage Magnus game. Equal, slightly better, clearly better, winning. No counterplay for his opponent. That's the way he likes doing it. 0% chance I'm going to cheat in this event. Yeah, I think it's closer to 0% than 1%. So yeah. Exactly. Let's see. Am I being serious? Who's he talking to? I don't know. Have I ever played Lasker? I bet Edward Lasker. Nothing's happening here. What about in the next game? Okay, next game didn't start. First game's probably not over. Very confused. Has a GM ever cheated in online tournaments? I mean, obviously. Many GMs have cheated online. Walter Brown, 3 blacks in a row, was the 87 U.S. Open, not the 89 U.S. Open. 89 U.S. Open was in Chicago, I think. The 87 U.S. Open was in Portland. Yeah. It's my game with Magnus. No. Who's my favorite to win this tournament? Well, Magnus is tied for first with Fabi, and Magnus is beating Fabi. So I'm going to say Magnus. Yeah. Do you accept gifts by shipping? Sure. What was my favorite U.S. Open? I don't know. I tied for first in 2 of them. Probably one of those 2. Exactly. Have I ever played Morphe? Probably. Okay, so Magnus played Rook c5. And the engine preferred bishop c5. And the engine wants to play knight takes b4. I can't say I blame it. Knight takes b4 seems pretty reasonable. He could also defend his g5 pawn. Can't really do a lot. Black doesn't have a lot of stuff going on here. Okay, knight takes b4 seems like the most normal move. I mean, Magnus has a choice of which pawn to take. Taking on b7 seems normal, although he did just play rook c5, so he might decide not to do that and take on g5. I mean, if I was white, I would want to keep all my queenside pawns to give me the most chance of winning. So I think the engine's move bishop c5 is just better than what Magnus did with rook c5. And Magnus is trading a lot, considering the big advantage that he has. Okay, so he traded rooks. Okay. The problem with playing king g7 here is bishop c5 forks the rook and the knight, so he has to play rook d8. And I guess Magnus thinks he can win this position. All right. I mean, he might. I don't like this technique. I think white gave away a lot of his advantage. Obviously, white's still better and might win, but I think it was more, he had more before. But this is very good. I mean, if Magnus thinks this is winning, he's probably just right. Move his king to b5 and play bishop d2 or bishop b6. So maybe it's just winning. I don't know. Black still doesn't have a lot of counterplay. I think Magnus thinks this is winning, and that's why he went into it. Scam train. Can we do a scam train? 11-10? Yeah, I guess so. You guys know more than I do. This is a draw. I mean, it's not a draw. It's very good for white. Black might draw, and white might win. You know, this pawn on a5 is probably going to be captured. White has the 2 bishops. White's king is better than black's. You know, so it's 50-50. Yeah. Let's see if anything happened in this suspicious game. Nothing there. Nothing there. All right. If you guys see anything, let me know in the Naka first round. Yeah. You beat Mike Tyson. That's right. C. Oh, dang. Hikaru filing an appeal to The Hague. What? 1,200 viewers a do. Go, everybody. Okay, so Fabi played bishop c7. Take a pawn. Magnus is like, nah, man, you ain't taking no pawn. g4. Yeah, the engine doesn't like black's position. God damn. 2 bishops. Better king. Papa John's. I mean, he's making this look easy. Bishop b6, resigns. Damn. Harsh. Tough position. 100 centidues. It's a scam train. Brought to you by chess.com. Well, hopefully, trying to learn and Karen can talk to chess.com and some agreement can be made, because I don't want to get involved. Obviously, this is the best way to show the games, but I'm a chess.com streamer, so, something. We'll just pretend this is chess.com. Nothing says chess24, right? Yeah, that's chess.com. They just changed their layout. Yeah. Magnus is the best. 355 plus 355? Yay! Somebody give Fiddlesticks a sub. I agree. Yeah. The chess.com board is better than this board, and it's less clunky. It does look better, and I like it more. However, this has the clocks, and it has the evaluation bar. And there's a big argument in the chess world about when you're doing commentary, whether to show the evaluation. And I think for the most part, the gawking rabble, which is you guys, like the evaluation bar. Because you guys are lazy. All right. I don't see why it matters. I mean, obviously, Chess24 is not a good site to play chess on. It's good for watching Super GM events that they show, but that's about it. And I like chess.com for everything else, but since Chess24 is having problems showing their own games, it's hard to take them and put them on other sites. It's very strange. It reminds me of, like, if you're a criminal, I said if, and then you get robbed, like, what do you do? Go to the police and say, that criminal robbed all that stuff I stole? So that's one of the issues is, if the site that you're stealing from is incompetent, then it's tough. Yeah. 200 centidues. Yeah. Right. So I don't really care if the time is shown. I don't care if the bar is shown. So I like showing it on chess.com. But you guys are all mad at me. So I don't know. Now chess.com's mad at me. The important thing is everybody's mad at me. That's the important thing. The more you donate, the less I care. Pro baddie. See, I'm of the opinion that that totally insane person, who's the most insane person on TV? What's her name? I forgot her name. Who's the insane person? She went to U of M law school. Yeah, that doesn't really help. Nancy Grace isn't on TV anymore. Who might kill you? You guys are doing well. You're naming crazy people. She doesn't have her own show. She just is a guest sometimes. She went to the University of Michigan Law School. She's been on TV for 20 years. She's been insane forever. Nobody said her name yet. Madonna. Ann Coulter. Thank you. Yeah. It's not clear to me that Ann Coulter believes anything she says. I don't know. It could be she's like, if I keep saying crazy things, I'll keep getting on TV. And they'll keep giving me money. So I don't know. They made fun of it on, with South Park, I think it was, or Family Guy, one of them. All right, so as I've been waxing idiotic, this is completely winning for white. So what did he do? He played king here, takes, here. And then king d6 is a big blunder. What he needs to do, he's probably still lost, but what he needs to do is take the bishop and then move his king to c5. So when white plays king a5, Black plays king c5. Instead, he played here, so now the white king isn't trapped. Because you attack the h pawn, and then you take the pawn. And now you can't play king c5. Probably black's lost anyway, but now black's really lost. So this is like much more lost. Because you can't trap the king on a5. So the king d6 was a bad move also. Yeah, he wanted to play knight d1 and take this pawn, and Magnus is like, nah, man. So you can't play knight e4, you can't play knight d1, and the bishop defends this pawn. So that's about it. White king goes to b4, a pawn's passed, and these pawns are both hanging. I can just take them. So this is over. What's going on here? They haven't replayed this game yet, or they have, and they haven't played game 2 yet. I don't understand what's happening. What's happening? Ann Coulter, if she believes what she's saying, is obviously a lunatic, but it's possible she just says crazy things on purpose to make money. I don't know. You can't prove it one way or the other. So a lot of people go on TV and they act like idiots, and you guys are like, yeah, I love those idiots. Like me. So then, so forth. What do you think about evaluation bar? I suck and want evaluation bar. Yeah. One of the answers should have been candy bar. $3. You were thinking of the Boondocks. It was the Boondocks. Thank you. That's right, Pro Baddie. It was the Boondocks. Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, Ann Coulter on the Boondocks. Yeah, the Boondocks is great. I can't quote the Boondocks any 1 second of any show because I'll get thrown off of the air. Okay, he played knight e2. That's an odd move because bishop g6 wins all the pawns. And he played it. And truth hurts. So the reason this is an easy win for white is this is the correct colored rook pawn. So that makes things a lot easier than if it wasn't. If it wasn't, probably be a draw, but not anymore. Why is Caruana not resigning? And then he resigned after you guys said that. Good. That was not a good game from Caruana. He played very badly. Yeah, I mean, for his standards, he did not play well. So it's 2-0 for Magnus, and in Naka's match, the match isn't even happening anymore. I don't know what's going on. And the question is sort of strange. I can't watch Fabi lose more. Sure you can. Just keep watching. 200 centidues. They both rage quit. Good. Does anybody know what's happening in the other game or match? So Firouzja won't accept a draw or a loss, and Nakamura doesn't want to keep playing. He says, I only win. All right. Okay. Yeah. Firouzja crying like a GM. Hikaru closed his camera. So what you're saying is Hikaru and Firouzja are fighting for the Good Sportsmanship Award. But it's named after Hikaru, so I don't think Firouzja has a chance. All right, let's time them out. And then who else am I timing out? I gotta time everybody out so they stop asking the same stupid question. and time you out. All right, good. Creating an account just to ask me a question. Good. Magnus is calling in Radjabov. Yay, the train ended, I guess. I don't know. Valuation bar is blocking, everything's blocking the train. Such strong support. It wasn't any support. Terrible. All right, 2 terrible trains. That train was better, but still terrible. What happened? I don't know what's going on. Yeah. So Magnus is up 2-0. Fabi's not playing very well. And I don't understand what's happening in the other match. I guess they're just not going to play anymore. So I guess if chess.com doesn't want me to show the games, the players just won't play the games anymore. So there you go. Everybody's happy. Chop the board in half. Whoever's horrified more. Yeah. Yeah. I think the issue is Firouzja believes, and I think he's right, his internet didn't go down, that Chess24 stopped working for him, and so he shouldn't be forfeited. And I don't know if he's wrong. It seems to me if his internet didn't go down and Chess24 stopped working, he shouldn't lose the game. If his internet went down, then obviously he still doesn't want to lose the game, but he might be forced to. If he just stops playing and he says, I'm not playing, I'm not going to lose or draw this game, I want to keep playing the game, and the arbiter says no, Firouzja just might stop playing in the tournament. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. Right. Well, just because they said his internet went down doesn't mean it went down. So I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah. Confused. Yeah, only you guys think 17,000 is a lot of money. These players don't care about the money. Yeah. Huh. It had to be Chess24. I don't know. It seems like Firouzja wants to resume the game and Hikaru does not want to resume the game. So I don't think either player is going to change their mind. Huh. Based on what you lunatics are saying, I think something bad's going to happen. Yeah, I'm guessing Firouzja's just not going to play in the tournament anymore. Based on what you guys are saying. Yeah. I'm guessing what's happening right now is Chess24 is like, you lose, Firouzja, let's play game 2. And Firouzja's like, no. And then what are they going to do? And then if they're like, well, then you forfeit the match, then he's like, I'm not playing the tournament anymore. So I'm guessing that's what's happening. That's what I'm guessing. And Geary's probably really mad because, I mean, there was a big fight for last place. So if Firouzja drops out of the tournament, how's he, I mean, is Geary still getting last because Firouzja's score doesn't count? Yeah, so I don't know. Normally in these situations, there's an arbiter. The arbiter has nothing to do with the organization. You don't want the organizer of the tournament and the arbiter to be the same person. That's a no-no in chess. You don't do that. FIDE doesn't allow that. So the arbiter makes a decision and the players go, okay, that's what should happen. That's why there's an arbiter. That's the end of it. If and there should have been rules established before the tournament. If the arbiter makes a decision and the player doesn't agree, like what happens? And if the player plays in the tournament, they shouldn't be like, I don't like the arbiter's decision, I'm not playing anymore. I mean, you don't like the arbiter's decision, that's, you don't like the arbiter's decision. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know exactly what people are complaining about. I just know what you guys are telling me. Oh, I moved this again. Unbelievable. Why am I so dumb? God, everything I do is stupid. All right, let me try to fix it. Fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it. Caruana, white. Okay. Did I fix it? Or I made it worse? That looks correct. That is correct. Okay. Well, yeah, in this situation, chess 24 shouldn't be making any decisions. It should be an arbiter's decision. The arbiter is told by Hikaru, Firouzja, and chess 24 what happened. Then when he gets all the facts, he makes a decision. And then they go on. That should be it. So chess 24 shouldn't be telling Firouzja you lost. I mean, he wants an arbiter. So, yeah. The arbiter should definitely, talk to Hikaru on Zoom for no reason, though. That's important. Yeah. So this is the next game, I guess. Fabi has white, right? Yeah. The game has started. What game? The game? What game? I don't know what game you're talking about. Exactly. Hikaru's refusing to continue. Why did the arbiter rule that Firouzja the game continues? Let's see. So this is the first game. This is the second game. This is the third game with no moves. This is the first game where the game ended for some reason. And this is the second game with no moves. All right. So Magnus is up 2-0, and the other match is just confusion. Hikaru wants to play Arena King, so he withdrew. I agree with that. So what you think is that the arbiter said, let's continue from that position, and Hikaru said no. That's what you think happened. And everybody else in the chat thinks that Firouzja lost, and he refuses to accept that. All right. No, the Arena Kings was a joke. Yeah. Magnus Fabi is blocked until... Aha. Yeah, I think when they play the third game, they're supposed to start at the same time. All right. Well, I'm going to go to the bathroom since I have to go, and there's not going to be a game for the next 20 minutes. So I'll be back in like 2 minutes. And then you guys can talk about what's going on, since I don't understand what's going on. Hello. All right, let's see. Nothing, and nothing. All right, let's go back in the chat and see what the Gawking Rabble have to say. My chair is empty. I turned down my volume. Smart. Magnus is pranking him. Even I'm quitting. Can't they resume the game? What's happening with the Caro game? Tell us an Ivanchuk story. Hikaru's a crybaby. Everyone's leaving. We have 1,100. That's pretty good. There's nothing to do right now, so I guess just donate all your money, and then something will be done. I can't read all that chat. We'll just get to the end. Greetings from Porto Carras. I was there about 4 years ago for the World Youth and/or Cadet. Nice place. Cy Bradbury gets it. 200 centidues. 1 cent to do. 17,000. No, it's 18,000. Okay, but not 17,000. Super Mario Kart. Chess 24 is reviewing Magnus's game 1. Good, good. Have you been to Yerevan? I have not. I've never been to Armenia. Favorite Batman character? I don't know. 1 cent to do. Thank you. 25. Ali Reza is the arbiter. I'm your arbiter. Have you been to Ireland? I have not. The most disorganized online tournament ever. God damn, that's saying something. Or I'm gonna read what's going on Twitter. I'm sure Geary has opined on this situation. Let's see. Faruja Nakamura disconnection. Would you continue the game? Yes, no, replay the game. All right. We're waiting to see what happens in this other game. Historic day. When is Greg Shahadi playing? What? Who has better hair, Carlsen or Karana? Wally Reza win. Did Carol Baskin do it? What would you have done, Anish? They're not really talking about this on Twitter. Like this terrible situation that's happening. Frankly, terrible. Yeah, there should be more stuff. Oh, here it is. Geary says, in the game between Faruja and Naka, they should agree to a draw, and to make it more interesting, they should declare the first 2 games of Caruana Carlsen drawn as well. He didn't say that. I made that up, but it sounds good. Sounds like him. What would I rule as the arbiter? Well, if Ali Reza lost the internet and Chess 24 had 0% of the blame, I would rule that he loses. If Ali Reza did not lose his internet and Chess 24 went down for him, they should play the game from that position. And if they can't, because the system doesn't let them do that, they should replay the game. I don't know what happened, and you guys don't know either, but you guys act like you know. Oh, yeah, he definitely lost the internet. It's his fault. He didn't lose the internet. It was Chess 24's fault. I mean, I don't know which one is true, and reading this chat won't tell me. But that's, if I was the arbiter, I would find that out. I would find out why the game stopped. And if Chess 24 was blameless, then I think Ali Reza loses. And if Ali Reza is blameless, he can't lose. So I don't know what happened. I just know what you guys are writing in the chat. So that's not, that's usually shallow and pedantic. Walkie TV. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to do. If they don't know how it happened, I don't know. How can Chess 24 go down for only him? I don't know. Ali Reza was like, I am the arbiter. Then he shot lightning bolts. God damn. Wow. You guys are crazier than me. So you guys think Ali Reza should just lose. That's what you guys in the chat think. You think his internet went down. All right. Yeah. They could get the game from Sunny to decide. They're good at, deciding what happens with beefs. So, yeah. All right. You guys in the chat are pretty suspicious. Usually when you're playing in an online tournament and there's prizes and there's grandmasters and so forth, if your internet goes down and you lose the game, you lose. That's always the case, right? You're playing in Title Tuesday and there's 1,000 title players. Your internet goes down, you lose. They're not going to be like, oh, let's replay that game. Let's start. No, you lose. You know that. You know if you play online on any site and your internet connection goes down, you lose. That's that's the way it is. Truth hurts. That's the way it always is. Yeah. You guys think Ali Reza's internet went down, and then you're trying to figure out what to do. I don't know. Yeah. No, the position on the board shouldn't be relevant. If Chess 24 had an issue, and that issue caused Ali Reza to lose, he shouldn't lose. If Ali Reza had bad internet and his internet went down, then he loses, and that should be it. And the gawking rabble in the chat seem to think it was Ali Reza's internet, but some of you don't. Some of you think it was Chess 24. Hello.
Hey.
That seems pretty clear to me.
So I've missed a whole lot of stuff I haven't really followed.
Right.
So tell me
Well, no, I mean, they're not going to play Game 3 of the Fabi match because Game 3 is supposed to start at the same time. They're never going to play Game 3.
So are any games going on?
No, there hasn't been a game for like half an
So
hour.
they're arguing
It's 2-0 for Magnus. And they're supposed to start Game 3 at the same time, but
So they're waiting to resolve this other issue. So
Yeah.
what's going on with the other issue?
I think Magnus is playing bullet on Lee chess.
No, but what's going on with the other issue?
Okay, I don't know because I'm reading this chat, and everybody here is,
I mean,
brain dead,
I don't
obviously.
follow it on my phone very
Here's what they're claiming.
Okay.
I'm watching the game, I'm analyzing it, and Ali Reza doesn't move, so I'm confused.
Yeah.
Because he's in check and he has to move his king. And he didn't move, so his time ran out. So there's two possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Ali Reza had an internet issue, or Chess 24 had an issue.
Okay, so I saw
It
all
seems
that.
to me, if Ali Reza's internet went down, he loses. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And if Chess 24 had an issue, and Ali Reza's internet didn't go down,
Yeah.
then he does not lose.
Right.
Now, Ali Reza wants to continue the game from that position, and Hikaru's like, nah, man, I won. And that's it.
Well,
So the arbiter has to make a ruling, but if I was the arbiter, I would want to know if it was Chess 24's fault or if it was Ali Reza's internet.
yeah, they should be able to look at the server logs and get some.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, they're supposed to play Game 3 at the same time when the matches happen, and Games 2 and 4 don't matter. And Game 3 is about to start in Magnus versus Fabi, but they're not going to start because Game 3 is not starting in the other match. So, I don't know. We're just chatting, and everybody's complaining.
Yeah, they should be able to track it down.
Right, I don't know. Now, these guys are claiming something I don't believe, even though I'm probably wrong.
Yeah.
They're claiming, well, when I say they, I mean there's like 3 guys claiming it. They're like, I don't think chess 24 doesn't work for one player, but it works for the whole rest of the world. I'm not even sure if that's true. It seems like you've had issues where I didn't have issues.
Yeah, there could be a server glitch. They should look.
There could be a server glitch where we're both playing on a site and I can't play and you can.
And I get kicked off for.
Right. I agree that that could happen. Right. And it could be, I don't know what it could be. Did you see the Slack or you didn't look at it yet?
Yeah, Frosty Ball, that's right. Yeah, I glanced at that. So, and I need to be conciliatory and not go off on them.
All right. They can hear us too. So.
I know.
All right.
So I'm assuming that you do not want to change your setup for today.
Right.
You don't want to change.
I don't know if there's going to be more chess today.
Well, if there is, I need to type to them so I
Okay.
kind of know what you want to do. Are you willing to switch back to using the chess?
Yeah,
outcome?
yeah,
Oh, you are?
yeah.
Okay, without the clocks.
Yeah. I'm not going to use the clocks the way they want me to use them. I'm not going to go click, 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 click. Yeah.
Everybody agrees that's ridiculous.
Right,
That's
yeah.
not even an issue.
All right.
So
By the way, the people who are watching, they're going to be mad because they like this.
we might want to consider setting up a scene using their events tab. Where they,
Yeah.
but again, that's not the chess.com boards. Those are
Right.
chess.com boards.
That's
So I don't
that's
know
chess
how-
bomb. Right.
So I don't know how that's any better,
Right.
even though
Right.
it's on the chess.com.
Well,
site.
you and trying to learn, talk to them, and then I'll do what you guys tell me. I wash my hands.
What I don't understand is why they have clock data and can't put it into live chess. That's what I don't understand.
Well, they're playing now. Fabiano's playing Magnus.
Okay.
All right. I guess there is more chess today.
Yeah. I knew there would be.
Did anything happen with the other game, or nothing's ever going to happen? Yeah. I have 1,275 viewers.
So they claim that stuff's there now, so they're going to want you to switch back. You're willing to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me double check.
I could do it now, but there won't be any clocks. So people on the stream will yell at me. I don't know if I care.
Well, we don't want a bad relationship with chess.com.
All right. We don't?
No.
All right. But what about the people who are giving me money? Oh, wait, you guys never give me money.
If you're willing
All right.
to switch back, maybe go ahead and do it then.
All right.
And then I can
Like
check.
do it now? Is that what you mean?
Why not?
All right. All right, guys, we're going to take this nice thing that you guys have and we're going to get rid of it. Yay.
You're not getting rid of it.
Well, that's what we're doing.
Leave the window open in the background
Right?
in case we have to go back to chess 24 and it's already set up. Did you close the window?
No.
Yeah, leave that there.
Well, I can't leave it there. I have to.
Minimize.
I don't even know if I can even fix it now because I haven't opened the other one yet and I have to switch scenes.
Yeah, you can just minimize the chess 24 window.
Right, but I might have to restart OBS.
Well, you can always click on the scene that I set up that says no clocks because that's like a scratch pad window while you open stuff.
Hmm.
Chess.com open and ready. Then you
That's
click-
probably a better
do
idea.
that, then you click
Yeah.
on the scene that you
All
want.
right, we'll do that.
So just click on the no.
Yep.
It should be ugly for a second.
I agree. Yeah.
And then get chess.com open and go back.
All right.
Okay.
Good, good. All right. Chess.com thwarts us again, making sure we can't do anything. Wow. I went to chess.com and the board came up and it said, "Aw, snap, something's wrong with this web page."
It's not working?
I mean, it didn't work. It was just like funny how it broke immediately. That's very funny, actually, how it immediately broke. Yeah, I can't get the scene up. I did what you said and it doesn't work.
You can't click back on your normal scene
No.
after you.
And
Click
what I have to do, I think, is God, I can't even see the mouse anymore. Okay. What I have to do, I think, is overwrite the Lee chess thing and just do it. I'm just gonna have to overwrite it. I'm gonna have to go to chess.com. I'm gonna have to use that window and use chess.com. Yeah, now it works. I have to because it's open. Yeah. Well, that's what I did and it worked.
Okay.
Yeah. This happened before. OBS doesn't like to do anything.
I'm sure it's fine. I just don't know what you're talking about. As long as you got it working.
So instead of opening a new window and then going to live chess, I just the same window, and I got to I just used the same window.
It's the active
Then it worked. Yeah.
Okay, you didn't have to do that, but as long as you got
Well, when
it
you say I don't have to do it, maybe I did because OBS is no good.
working. All right.
Yeah, I've had problems with OBS when you open OBS before the website, even though we're in a different scene, It's nothing ever works. Everybody's an idiot. So,
All right.
but I know how to work around their idiocy so you can still see stuff. All right. Now we've improved the stream immensely because we have the chess.com board now with the incorrect ratings, no pictures of the players, no clock, and no engine. Thanks, chess.com. Good job. All right. That's my company. Okay, so Caruana has to win the next 2 games. I assume that you guys agree that Fabi will do that. Fabi's white. Magnus plays a regular Ruy Lopez. Plays the Archangel. We've already seen this before. This is Hikaru's game with Magnus from, a few days ago. This is still Hikaru's game with Magnus. This is not Hikaru's game with Magnus. Okay, Rook A7, I don't know that move. And when I say I don't know that move, he's not moving. Yeah. I hope chess.com fires you so you can fire up chess24. Chess.com can't fire me because I don't work for them. So they can't fire me. Let's see. Go chess.com. That's right. Okay, so now it's super complicated. C5, E5, knight E4. This is good that Magnus isn't playing super boring to draw the game and win the match, but he's playing like a theoretical line, which possibly Fabi knows better than him. Possibly. Well, he doesn't know. Because when Fabi knows a line, Fabi knows a line. God damn. So it's risky to go into some deep theoretical landmine against Fabi. That's a very risky opponent to do that with. But that's what he's doing. Yeah. My relationship with chess.com isn't really any of your business, especially since you're not a subscriber. Although your handle's pretty funny. So, all right.
Well, there are no moves at all in the.
It's right. I'm looking at only the Caruana Magnus game. Yeah. Oh yeah. They're never going to finish that match.
But there's not even any moves.
Right. They're not going to be playing anymore. Those guys.
Oh, you don't think?
No.
They don't even have the partial games.
The first game?
Yeah, I don't see it.
I did. The game 1? Game 1?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about in chess.com. Oh, I don't know that.
They don't have any.
I see a game, but it's supposed to be game 2, I guess, and it's not started, right?
Oh, you think that's game 2? Well, they don't even have game 1 in there.
Right. Yeah. Right. I can't show the game, but I don't think they're going to play anymore because if they play again, that means either Ferrugia or Naka back down. I don't know.
They have the Carlsen Fabiano finished game.
I understand.
So why wouldn't they have at least the partial game?
I agree with everything you're saying. Wow. Right. Chess.com should have the beginning of the game where it ended for no reason, but they don't. Right. Shocking. Yeah.
So it makes me worry. I'm going to post on something.
Right. Well, obviously, chess.com wants me to show the games on the chess.com board, which I agree with. If I was chess.com, I would too. However, you got to yell at them when you talk to them about the Armageddon yesterday. That can't happen again. I can't be like, where's the Armageddon games and they're over. I mean, come on.
They know that.
Well, they know that, but all right. So we've met them at least halfway. Right. And I still make fun of them and Danny Wrench every stream. So I got my shots in. Okay. Anyway, knight e4, queen f3. Now, you guys think I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. You think I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. Fabi could win the next 2 games. You guys think it's a 0% chance. It's like 10%. Okay? Fabi won yesterday when he had to, and then he beat Zing in the Armageddon. Now, in the Armageddon, by the way, if Fabi does win the next 2 games, which he won't, Magnus still going to win the Armageddon, but but okay. Getting to the Armageddon is good because then Fabi gets a point instead of 0. So, still good. 499. None of this is your fault. Well, yeah, of course. I thought it was my fault. I really did. And I was going to apologize, but Robin Williams kept telling me it wasn't my fault. And after I cried a lot, I agreed. So, what movie, Karen?
I'm reading some.
Terrible. Terrible. All right, so Magnus played d5. Good, good. Looks good. And the engine thinks one of the good moves for white is the explosive move, c4, confusing his opponent. The two engine moves are c4, bishop takes d5. God damn. And the third move is this. All three reasonable moves for white are all totally insane. So let's hope Fabi plays one of them. Right now, the engine likes c4 the best because it's explosive. No, c3, too boring. Wants to go here. Boo. It's not a bad move. It wasn't one of the crazy moves. So Ali Reza and Hikaru still have cameras on stream, so they might continue. All right. Let's see. I guess I can click on that. Actually, I don't know what to click on. I mean, if Ali Reza and Naka continue the first game from that position, I don't think I can show it to you. I don't think chess.com is going to show it. So, sorry. Not that chess24 is going to show it, but all right. Okay, so c4, that's explosive. Bishop c2, obviously. Queen b6 check does not win the rook because of bishop e3, for those of you who are confused. White has the two bishops, what else? And black has this nice pawn chain here. Nice knight. So, about equal. Yeah. Okay, the Gawking Rabble says the first game was agreed drawn, and now they're playing the second game. It's done.
They did what?
It was a draw in the first game, and now they're playing the second game. I have the second game.
Oh, so
They agreed to a draw in that position, right. Okay. Now, that's advantageous to Fallujah because Fallujah lost on time. However, if they replayed the game from that position, Naka's position was no good. That's fair. Right. Like, both sides should be mad now. Naka's like, I won on time. Why didn't I win? And Fallujah's like, that wasn't my fault. Let's replay that game so I can win. They're like, no draw. All right, so that's fair. All right. So there were no more moves made in that game. $3. Yay. Thanks for the $3. Terrible for your comment, so we'll have you banned and your children's children. But thanks for the $3. Okay, so I guess I've missed no moves. There were no more moves in that game. All right. So Naka's white against Fallujah. We have a Catalan by transposition. Normally white castles here and black takes on c4, but Naka played queen c2. So Fallujah tried to punish that with c5, which makes sense. And then he castled. So this isn't really a good way for white to get an advantage in a Catalan, but it's a good way to get your opponent out of their preparation. So, all right. So black's equalized pretty handily here. Because what we have here is failure. No, what we have here is like a Tarash QGD, where whites play queen c2. Not really the best square for the queen, because the black knight can go to b4, take on d4, rook c8. That's the d4 pawn's not as defended. So this isn't a good way for whites to get an advantage. The players are probably still shell-shocked at the nonsense that happened. Now, don't forget, the games are now being played at a different time. So we're watching game 3 of the Fabi match, but game 2 of the Naka match. Confusing the audience. Smarty has subscribed. Cool Hand Luke, very good. But who is the actor? Do you know, Karen? What we got here is failure to communicate. Karen won't listen to me. $10. Radius donated. Thanks for the commentary. Struther, very good. You didn't say Struther Martin, but good enough. Well, Paul Newman's the star, but the person who says what we got here, that's Struther Martin. Now, if you saw the movie, what's the name of the movie? Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. There's this scene where they get hired to watch the payroll, and they go into town and get the payroll, then they come back. And the guy that hired him, who gets shot, that's also Struther Martin. You hear me talking? I ain't through with you, but okay. So Nakamura, being one of my biggest fans, knew that he had to play knight f5, and he did. Okay, Naka played knight f5 just because he knew I was doing commentary. Okay, so Naka's going to get the two bishops, what else? And black has a nice center, so the engine says it's equal. Two bishops, what else? Okay, so black's obviously fine here, because black's going to get these pieces out. Black has a beautiful center. White hasn't developed yet, but two bishops. Okay, and they've made 1 billion moves in this game. The last position we saw was this one, right here. Now, remember, I said if black plays queen b6 check, white plays bishop e3. So Magnus played bishop g4, and the idea is if I take it, you check and take the rook. Okay, and you can take it, and you can take this. If you take this, and then take this, queen c5 check, knight f2 check, is better for black. So it looks like he has to take the bishop. He took the knight. The engine doesn't like that. The engine wants to take the bishop. Okay, and then he took, he checked, he went here, he checked, he took. Okay, so this is 3 pieces for 2 rooks. The engine says black is slightly better. I have one experience with this piece differential. I was playing black against Grandmaster Paul van der Sterren, Dutch Grandmaster, in 1991-ish, and I had 2 rooks for 3 pieces, and my 2 rooks had no chance. There was no open files, and the pieces just ran over me, and I had no hope. Totally dead lost. Here's different because we have the A file here, okay? And also there's pawn breaks for black, and white's king has no defense. So this is different. So this is a very interesting position. The engine preferred not playing this and just taking, but this is more interesting. Queen d1's forced, defending the bishop, defending the back rank, and always retreat. And the engine likes black, but this is a position where black must play quickly. If black does nothing and white does nothing, white will be winning. Like if white gets his knight to d4 and kicks out the queen and plays f5, white's going to win. But if black plays d4, b4, rook a1, okay, keeps the queen on the 7th rank, then black's better. So the engine says equal. But it's good for you guys. It's actually good for me. I like this. And this is a very good job from Fabi, because Fabi must win. Drawing and losing is the same. He must win. If he does, he must win the next game. Now, some of the gawking rabble, not necessarily today, but in past, say things like, well, it's better to lose 2.5, 1.5 than 3.5 half, because it's better psychologically. No. You either win or you lose the match. Okay? So the only way not to lose the match is to win both. Got to win both. Getting these weird positions is how you beat Magnus. Okay? Getting boring positions where you're slightly worse, that's not how you beat Magnus. So even if the engine likes black here, Fabi's doing a good job making the game where he might win. So good job. Okay, and this is the second game of the knockout match. I guess the first game was a draw, I guess. I don't know. And this is the last position we saw. Naka played b3 for obvious reasons. And I was going to say now if bishop a3, knight b4, but the engine still plays bishop a3 and then knight b4. But Naka played a3. Slow and steady wins the race. The engine doesn't like it. The engine likes the center. Yeah. It's funny because the engine usually likes the bishops. But yeah, this seems a bit slow. This really does seem shallow and pedantic. Do you agree? Mm-hmm. She agrees. Yeah. So Ali Reza has a nice position. The first game was a draw, so both players are mad. So that must have been the right decision. All right, let's see. There, new notes, new posts. I probably should have accepted the guy who wanted to join the club. Oh, well. Okay, so the engine wanted to play knight d2, but bishop d2 was the second choice. Now he can play bishop e1 and get checkmated. Yay. Now he's going to play queen e1. I'm just kidding. All right, so is he going to try to do this? Is he never going to play f6, opening the center? Is he going to play g6, thwarting this bishop? The answer is fries. d4. Okay, you have to take that, because if this happens, so you take, and then if queen takes, you play queen c1. And basically, white needs to untangle. White has to get those pieces out. And then white's fine. The engine now says all zeros for some reason. Not only could he take, he could play b4, or he could play rook d8, which he did. And the engine says queen c1 is forced, otherwise white's losing. And after queen c1, it's equal. Obviously, if rook takes, then bishop e3 is a fork. So queen c1 with the idea of bishop e3. Very unusual position, plus tax. And Farouj is not moving. You guys can see the board good. Good, good. The engine says this position's about equal, and here it says black has a nice advantage. b3, a3, I don't know about that. That seems unnecessary. Frankly, terrible. What's wrong with queen g1 in this position? Queen g1 was the second choice of the engine, then queen takes d4, and the engine thought black was better. Queen g1 doesn't lose, but it preferred queen c1, and that's what he played. So he's got two possible moves, queen takes and b4. The engine says they're both equal. All right. What can I tell you? Doesn't look equal. It looks like somebody can win. I just don't know which side. All right, and Ali Reza didn't want to develop his bishop and then put his rooks in the center like I would do. He wants to play like Ali Reza, and he plays e4. Very aggressive. He wants his bishop on f5. And normally, when you have black in this position and you want your bishop on that diagonal, you just do the rigmarole. You play bishop here, bishop here, bishop here. But he wants to do it in one move, so now he can play bishop f5 in one move. All right. And Magnus is thinking, not his strong suit. His strong suit is holding online tournaments where there's all kinds of issues. Yay, Karen was listening.
I'm done typing now.
All right. Would you be more afraid of a non-Carlsen or a Nakapuki? We mean like in a fight? Carlsen. Yeah. In a fight, I'd take the other two, but not Carlsen. Yeah. What shirt am I wearing? I'm wearing this one. Yay, it's Rufus and Doofus. Go, everybody. Go something. Go like a pro. All right, Magnus isn't moving. And everything that I said would happen did happen. Bishop g5 and bishop f5. And the engine says it's about equal. Not sure what this was all about, but all right. Whatever. Fabi's ahead by 10 minutes. Good, good. Yeah, Rounders is good. If I buy your book and mail it, can you sign it? That's a Karen question. Always ask Karen. If you donate, then probably. Always ask Karen everything. Karen just left. Looks like Grishuk just woke up. Yeah, makes sense. Go, Grishuk. All right, so Naka played knight d2, and then the e-pawn has sort of some pressure on it. So he played rook e8. That's the best move. And Naka took. The engine agrees. You can actually take either way. Take with the g-pawn because you want this defended. You can take this way so you can try to pin with queen g6. The engine slightly prefers taking with the g-pawn. Slightly. Just slightly. They're claiming Fabi's playing much faster than Magnus. B4, very reasonable. The engine says bishop e3 is best, h3 is second best, and a move I don't understand is third best. That's just a terrible move. I mean, this is the obvious move, so I assume he'll play that. He took with the G pawn. The engine still likes black because black has some nice center here. You guys probably don't like that, but there's no avenue to the black king. Okay, e3 is a big decision. I was going to say it gives him a passed pawn, but actually he doesn't have to take that because if he takes, knight takes, it's probably good for black. So he could play bishop g6, so his bishop is defended twice instead of 0 times. He could play rook a d8, since his rook is stupid on a8 and good on d8. He could play a5, stopping white from playing b4. And black is just better here. Black has this nice center. Bishop g6 is the safe move. Bishop's defended twice, blocks the g-file, prepares f5 later if necessary. There's no tricks now because the pawn is pinned. Okay, and the engine really likes black here. This is just really good. And Fabi's not moving. No moving. Man, what a crazy position. Good, good. Go, Fabi, go, etc. Magnus blinking very fast. What? 1,400 viewers.
Yay.
That's the most. You know why? Because we switched back to chess.com. Go chess.com.
Their boards do look better.
No, I agree. I like this better. I don't care about the engine evaluation. I don't care about the time.
They should add a
I
meter.
don't.
No, they should add the engine evaluation meter on this to their interface.
But isn't that the chess 24 meter, so they'll get sued?
Not if they do. No, they can do that.
Damn.
They can do their own version. The meter
It's true.
is not a unique idea.
Damn. Got him good.
They should definitely steal that idea. And,
All right.
So I do think that's better to have that.
You do?
Mhm.
Do.
And they should add it.
Is 3 pieces usually better than 2 rooks? Yes. Now, if Mepex asks that question, I'm going to get a different answer. Do you like the placement of white's pieces? No, but I like having 3 pieces. I like that. 2 bishops, what else? What was Fabiano's rating when you won against him? Well, he was about 2.5, so I think it was about 2170. You know, something like that. About half of that was right. Twitchy asked me a question, so I answered. I said, if Mepex asked me, it's a different answer. Yeah. Okay, so the engine says it's all equal because that's what engines do. And finally, Fabi. Magnus, Fabi. Finally, Hikaru played b4. What else? And once again, the engine says move the rook somewhere or play f5. But instead he played d3. Engine does not like that move. Seems like a normal move. You know, get your passed pawn going. Good, good. All right, so hopefully this game will just end for no reason with somebody's internet not working and there can be more arguments. Over 1,400 viewers, still no donations. Damn, tough crowd. Yeah, Magnus is up 2-0. And I guess the other score of the match is 50-50. I guess. I'm not 100% sure. But I think that's what the score is. I didn't think I would be analyzing the games today and say one of the matches is 2-0 and the other match is 50-50. And not be sure that I was right. So there you go. Are 8 knights better than 3 queens? No. 3 queens are better. Are 3 rooks better than 4 pieces? Probably not. I'll take the 4 pieces. How are the 2 games out of sync? Nobody knows. I think because they asked the 4 players and only Hikaru liked in sync. So they decided since the other 3 didn't like them that they wouldn't have the games in sync. Okay, Fabi played a move that nobody thought about. Bishop G1. I like that. Oh, actually, no. Bishop E3 he did play. Queen E2. Okay, Bishop G1s makes sense. King G1 makes sense. F5. Bishop G1's the safest. Then C3. The engine says B takes C3 is the only move. Otherwise, black is winning. Although I want to see knight take C3. Then I want to see 2 bishops against 2 rooks. What else? And white has 3 extra pawns. Confusing the audience. Now that's winning for black, but I still want to see it because it's funny. Once again, B takes C3 is all zeros. Somehow this position's equal. It looks anything but equal. It looks like somebody's going to win. I don't know which side, but somebody. Okay, he did play BC. Okay. Oh, I apologize. BCE. They changed the terminology. And he's got, almost, he's trying to get, connect 4, but not quite. Man, what a great game. This is awesome. Especially if Fabi wins. Then it's 2-1 and he can still tie the match. Okay, he played Queen C3, F5, tic-tac-toe. Hikaru agreed. Got his own tic-tac-toe. The engine says F3 is the best move, but Hikaru's not doing that. Come on, was he crazy? And then knight E5. And both sides stand well. Black's doing great here. And white's doing great here. This bishop's no good. But, he can go here and be good later. So, bishop always has the H5 square. So this is triple-edged. My prediction for this game is the internet stops working and the whole world is destroyed. That's my recollection anyway. This game is much more interesting, of course. 8 rooks are good if you sacrifice 5 of them. I know from experience. Yep. Does anyone know what happened when the game won? I think it was decided to be drawn, but I wouldn't bet my life on it. Fabi has a 6 minutes to 2 time advantage. Usually, you guys spell Carlsen wrong, but this guy decided to spell Magnus wrong. So, sorry. Yeah. All right. The engine says everything is all zeros. He took back. Knight takes. Attacking the queen. Queen's attacked. Queen C4. The engine still says all zeros. Not sure how it's all zeros. It wants to play knight D1, knight E3, so the knight defends the bishop. Now it says F5, sacking the knight, and then F6. And it says black's worse there. Man, if he plays F5, that'd be awesome. Hello. You leaving?
Yeah, we have to go.
But, all right. How did it go? Good? What you did.
Oh, I don't know. They haven't replied.
No, what you did. You left.
Oh,
I know, that was good? Yeah, I'm just asking if it was good. If he plays F5, he's cheating. F5, F6, that's pretty cheating. I like that. Because if you take the knight now, you win the queen. So you make sure you don't win the queen. So you can play F6. Never play F6. Then queen G5, mate. Rawr. 2 bishops, what else? After F5, the engine slightly prefers white. Queen takes C3, F6. Threatening bishop H7 check. Threatening queen G5, etc. Then black plays queen B4, so he can play queen F8, defending mate. Man, that would be awesome. If this happens, that would be awesome. Then if queen G5, I go here. Bam. You could also play G6, because now if queen H6, I go here. So if he plays F5, that would be great. Wigmaster subscribed. Good, good. Okay, and Hikaru hasn't moved since we last left this game. And Fabi hasn't moved. It's like a slow tournament. Nobody moves. Maybe Grishuk is playing. Anyway, I got informed by Chess24 that they let Giri make the decision for the first game, the Hikaru Fallujah. So he declared the game a draw. Okay, knight to d1. That's reasonable move. Then rook c8, threatening the bishop. Knight e3 is forced. He'll play queen takes d4 now. And the engine likes white. I agree. I like white also. I always like the 3 pieces versus the 2 rooks just because of the bad thing that happened to me where I had 2 rooks against 3 pieces and I got crushed. Okay, he played queen f1. The computer preferred queen b1 a little bit. Shouldn't matter much. Queen d2. Now he could play queen b1. He has to play queen b1 now. If the bishop moves, rook c1's annoying. Yeah, he should have played queen b1 before. Keep that bishop extra protected. Okay, queen b1, good. Probably was better last move, but all right. So 3 pieces and a pawn for 2 rooks, but those rooks look pretty good. Those are some nice rooks. Yeah, nice open files. All 3 results are possible, and as far as you guys are telling me, Magnus has a lot less time. 1,500 viewers, and still no donations. Damn, harsh. Okay, back to the Nakapuki game. No! Nakamura played f3. No! No! All right, then he took it, which is good. Bishop takes is good. And now black has an unusual pawn structure. So you don't typically see that with the bishop on g6. So the engine wants to play bishop h5. Rook a d8's the obvious move also, defending this pawn. 200 centidues, the scam train. So he didn't take the pawn on f5 because queen takes e3 check. Then this bishop is better because his pawn's out of the way. The bishop has more scope. So he played rook f2, which is fine. Black can either play rook d8, defending his pawn, or bishop e2, defending his pawn. He could play queen takes e3, but the engine says after knight c4, white's better there. Attacks the queen, knight d6. So it claims after bishop here or rook here, it's equal. And what happened here? h6, h3, nobody's getting back rank mated. Rook c3. The only good move for white is queen b6. That puts pressure on the rook and defends the knight. Any other move in black is better. Much better. So queen b6 is forced. And he played queen b6. Queen d4 was also a good move. And the engine says this endgame is a draw and queen a5 is a draw. Otherwise, white's in a lot of trouble. But either move is equal. So Fabi has a big time advantage, but if they trade queens, that seems like a draw is pretty likely. I don't see how either side's going to lose that. Queen a5 keeps more winning chances and losing chances, so that probably is the best move given the situation that he's down 2-0. He doesn't want to draw because then he loses the match. So he should play queen a5. He did. He played queen a5. Okay. Geary's confused. Why not take a draw? Okay, then rook c5 is okay. The engine prefers queen d2. Rook c5 is a little risky because you're lining all your pieces up here. Now the engine says queen a7 and white's better. And queen a6 is also good. Rook c5 is a weird move because you're lining your queen and rook up against that bishop. That's a little risky. On the other hand, according to you guys, Magnus has about a minute. So, all right. Yeah, so I've never seen this particular diagonal so crowded. Pretty crowded diagonal. So the engine wants to bail out with rook takes c2, and then queen takes, rook takes, knight takes, rook takes, and try to draw that position. It's probably a draw because this pawn's isolated. That's probably a draw. Probably. It's a very risky decision because then you're getting a position. He did it. He's getting a position where he's going to lose or draw, as opposed to he could win if he keeps the queens on. Obviously, Magnus doesn't care if he wins or draws because either way he wins the match. Okay, and Fabi correctly kept the queens on. He played knight takes, keeping the queens on. Knight d4 is a good move. because now if you take this, there's a fork. Yeah, and now white just has 2 pieces for a rook. Probably a draw with perfect play, but only white can win. So very good for Fabi. Fabi has a position he can't lose, that he might win, and he has more time on his clock. So I can't argue with that. That's exactly what he wanted. He finally escaped from all those strange piece placements. Okay, I don't like the move that Firouzja just played, Queen e5. It seems like this king could potentially get exposed, but I mean, it's about equal no matter what he does. Now remember, this is game 2. Firouzja Knocker are going to keep playing even after the Carlsen match is over. They're behind a game due to incredible arguments. 1,544 viewers ado. My rating USCF when I was 9 or 10 years old was 1,544. Exactly that, I remember. Truth hurts. All right, knight d4, queen b6, rook d5. Now white has winning chances, 2 pieces for a rook. All the pawns are on the same side, and it's hard for white to activate his pieces because then it's like it's mated. King's on h1, so he's got to defend. So probably a draw, but good winning chances for white, and big time advantage for white, according to you guys. Okay, now the bad thing for Magnus, I say this every game, is not bad for Magnus, I give you guys this information every game, is this is the right colored H-pawn. That's bad for Magnus. So sometimes these sacrifices where you're trading queens, and sometimes that doesn't work. Okay, so he played queen check, queen b1, rook e3. Let's see. Yeah, the engine says rook e3 is a blunder because we can play queen a2, threatening f7 and threatening the rook. And it thinks that white's winning there. But he played queen f1. And I think he thought that this sacrifice would happen, that would be a draw. He might be right. That might be a draw. He was definitely thinking that. Magnus was definitely going to take that. That's why he didn't play rook d4. He played rook here. After queen a2, Magnus is going to take this knight. He's not going to let him take that. And then he's going to take check. And then his king's going to walk up here after trading queens. That looks like a draw. Might not be a draw. Might be a win. I don't know. The players thought it was a draw because he played here. So, all right. All right, so they made a lot of moves. This isn't getting white anywhere. Yeah, white's position is not improving. He can't move his bishop because queen takes knight. Queen f1's a repetition. King g1 looks like I can just check you back. So, yeah, something. Queen a7. Yeah, I mean, this is just an immediate draw. All right, the game's over. I think he's just going to perpetual him. Oh, he can block on e1 with his bishop? Wow. I guess. All right, so the game's not immediately drawn, but white's not winning anymore. Yeah. This is definitely should be a draw now. Bishop e1 is the only way to try to win. The problem with... he played bishop g1. Yeah, probably black should have played queen f1 here, but queen c2 is okay. I mean, this is so good, and there's no checks, and this pawn's isolated. This king's not very good. It seems like it's very hard for white to win. But white is threatening queen takes f7. So, okay. How much time does Magnus have, guys? Like 10 seconds? White's better. White has 2 pieces for a rook, but probably it's drawn with correct play. And what happened here? Okay, we saw queen e5. They traded. Knight c4, knight d6. Everybody takes all the pawns. Good. Knight takes b7 was also interesting, giving him a pass c pawn. Then everybody's got a pass pawn. Rook e5, g4, rook d1. This is looking like a draw because trading everything. I don't know what the time situation is. Probably Farouja lost his internet by now. But. All right, what's happening here? Rook b7, queen d8. Could play rook b3, threatening rook takes h3. That's what he did. Good, good. If it goes knight here, it'll be a draw because he'll take it. He could also play queen here or queen here. He might play queen c8. Then if queen takes knight. Okay, he just allowed the draw. All right, rook takes, check. Yeah. So it's a perpetual check, probably. If it's not a perpetual check, queen takes e5 still draws. That's just a drawn endgame. Or taking on h with check. Wow, yeah. I mean, white's not even better here. It looks like he can win the e5 pawn now. Queen takes, and then I think I can win the e5 pawn. Yeah. King e1, queen c3, king e2, queen h5. And then king g1, queen g4 is a perpetual. Yeah, so this game's going to be a draw, and then Carlsen wins the match. Yeah, this game's definitely going to end in a draw now. Yeah, the problem is if I check and take this pawn, then black's better. If you go here, it's a perpetual. Even if I don't win the pawn, it's a draw anyway. There's no way for white to win. Yeah. Now they're just going to repeat, always repeat. And they agreed to a draw here. They repeated a lot, but it went too fast for the machine. That's what actually happened. And if white plays for a win, king e1 check wins this pawn. King e2 check wins this pawn. Then only black can win then. It's still a draw, but... All right, so that was a fair result. Probably both sides had the advantage at different points, but probably not winning, just an advantage. Very, very interesting game. All right, and then the last time we saw this was in this position. He played h5. That's one of the engine moves. h3, takes, rook d8, I assume. Oh, rook e4. Okay. Takes, king f1. Seems better for white because I can play rook d7 and take this. This pawn's not dangerous. So probably this is a draw, but white has winning chances. And again, I don't agree with black's decision to give up his passed d pawn. I think he should have played rook d8 and try to hold on to his pawn. Now only white can win. Rook d7, this is weak. Knight d6. I mean, c pawn's pretty good. This pawn's not dangerous. So probably a draw, but I'll take white. And this was really interesting game, the Caruana game. So Magnus wins his match. He's in clear first in the tournament. He was tied with Fabi before with 5 out of 6, I guess. And now he's taken the sole lead in the tournament. He's won 2 matches in regulation, and he beat Hikaru in the Armageddon. And they're still going to play the 4th game, Caruana and Magnus, because it's important for the tiebreakers at the end of the round robin in 12 days, 11 days, in case there's a tie. Almost 1,600 viewers. God damn. Go Wesley So. King f8's good. Stops knight e7 check. Gets the king closer to the center. Rook d7's incredibly obvious move. I would be shocked if he doesn't play rook d7. The engine says rook c3 is just as good. The idea of rook c3 is to play knight d6, and then when you take the b pawn, your rook is behind the pass pawn. But for a human, rook d7. Yeah. Then when you play knight d6, you're attacking f7. Now the engine says only a5 draws here, otherwise black is lost. And he played a5. God damn. You can get his 2372 rating in the mail. No. All right. Obviously, black wants to take on b4 and get that rook going, attacking that white king. The problem with the b5, which is the most obvious move in the history of chess, is rook g5, and then the whole fifth rank is hanging. So you got if he goes here, then you got a lot of attack there, and then black's probably okay there. So instead, Hikaru played knight h6, threatening everything, threatening the rook, threatening to take on f7. Rook g3 is correct, threatening the a pawn. And he's just gonna, black's gonna take all these pawns, and if white doesn't have any pawns, it's hard to win. So a5, rook g3, that was the correct defense. White's still much better, but the engine says black should draw because he has taking all of these pawns. And eventually, black's going to be okay if his other rook can get active. Very good defense. Knight takes f7. It says he has to either take here or here, which allows discovered check. So that's hard to do. Hard to allow discovered check, but it says he has to do it. In a blitz game, you just take this immediately because you're so afraid of, discovered check everywhere. He played king e8. That's a terrible blunder. Now after rook takes b7, white's just winning. Because now knight d6 check is mate. So he has to stop knight d6 check. So, yeah. Now taking either way wins. Okay, now he's threatening rook f8 check, winning the rook. Yeah, now white's just winning easily. So king e8 was a terrible blunder after a heroic defense. And then you just play king e8 rook takes b7, he's dead lost. Man, the truth hurts. Yeah. Yeah, the problem with king e8 is you're forcing white to make a good move and threaten mate. So that didn't work. And he resigned. Yeah, because he's losing immediately here. Yeah. This is winning the rook. So you have to trade rooks, and then white gets 7 queens. So that game ended immediately with a blunder, king e8 double question mark. In this position, either one of these moves might draw. It's still better for white, but let's say we take this. Yeah, I mean, the rook is defending the bishop, so you can't check and take the bishop. And this looks like it's just a draw. This is the engine line. Takes, b6. And then, I mean, white still has good winning chances. White's a pawn up in a double rook ending, but probably a draw because this king has no defense, so black can start checking. The engine says white's up 0.4. That usually means it's a draw in a double rook ending. It would say +5 if it saw that white was queening. Yeah, so this is probably a draw. And he played king e8 and lost, and then the game's over. Now white's threatening knight d6 check, rook f8 mate, so he has to take, and then he resigned. So he made a one-move blunder and resigned, again, because the players don't have a lot of time on their clock. So Nakamura's up 1.5 half, I guess, maybe, and Magnus is up 2.5 half. So Magnus has won his match, and let's see if on chess.com they put the games up yet. Okay. Good. I'll change the scene so it doesn't look stupid. Then I'll change the scene again so it does look stupid. All right. So this game should start first because they ended before the other game, even though they're a game ahead. So when this game ends and the match is over, because the match is over, we're going to have another game after the next round because Hikaru and Firouzja are a game behind. If Hikaru wins the next game, he wins the match. If Firouzja wins the next game, it's tied. And if they draw, then Firouzja has to win game 4 to tie it up. The reason they're playing game 4 when the match has already been decided is for tie breaks. At the end of the round robin, in about 10, 11 days, if there's a tie for the top few places, they're going to use the game points, 3 out of 4, 2.5 out of 4, and that's the tie break. Because after the round robin's over, they're taking the top 4 and they're playing matches. The top 4 will be decided by tie breaks if there's a tie. So they have to play all 4 games. Obviously, as spectators, you want to see all 4 games anyway. So, makes sense. All right, so Magnus is up 2.5 half. He's won the match. And I think Hikaru's up 1.5 half. I think they declared the first game a draw. And Hikaru won the second game. Yeah. That's an old Koltanowski joke. Nick Yazimo. If you found a Koltanowski book that he didn't sign, it's supposed to be worth more because every book he signed. So, yeah. What openings you predict? I predict nothing. Rawr. All right. The more you donate, the more arbiter rulings you won't like. Chess24 has 26,000 people watching on Twitch. They're like, go Magnus. Even though the Magnus match is over, he's won the match. They still want to see it. And we had records here. We had 1,700 quote unquote people. Now we got nothing. Nothing. The first game, there was an argument about why the game ended. Either Ali Reza's internet crapped out or Chess24 crapped out. Nobody could agree, so they made it a draw. I think if nothing happened, like there's an alternate universe where the internet worked perfectly and the site worked perfectly, Ali Reza might have won that game. He was probably winning in the final position. Probably. Another train. Where's the train? Where's the $100 donation? Where are my people at? Everybody donate $1. Rawr. Actually, you have to donate $11, so it's $17,000. That's the key number today. If everybody watching donates $11, then we'll see if $17,000 is good. We'll see. Yeah, tonight, as I always do, I'll be analyzing the games of the day. So, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock tonight, whatever. Nobody knows when. Yay, 11 cents, 45 cents. You guys are the best. Magnus game started. I'm at the Magnus game. I'm right here. I got it. There's nothing else I can do. All right, and then there's the Fallujah game, and then I change the scene. You guys complain while I'm changing the scene because you guys are smart. Yay, 1 cent to do. Several donations of 1 cent. Good, good. Excellent. All right, so this is the third game between Fallujah and Naka. And this is the last game of Magnus versus Fabi. I've been informed by the gawking rabble this game already started, but I can't prove it. Stop changing the scene. Rawr. Viewers are leaving in droves, or they're staying in droves, whatever the joke is. 42 cents to do. The answer is 42. Nobody knows the format. Yay, go Berlin. Go something. All right, it's a Berlin. Wow, it's exciting. You're looking at the wrong link. Engine analysis. Rawr. It started. The chat knows all. Not a Berlin. What? Even the people looking at the game don't know the opening. Rawr. All right, we're back to this. Get rid of this. And then, let's see. This is the same. All right, so this is the last game in the Magnus Fabi match. It's a 4 knights. H3, putting it in H. A student of mine, or actually he wasn't a student of mine. He played A3, okay, similar to H3. Except now black played bishop B4. So I guess it's not similar to A. Okay. Bishop b4, knight d5, confusing the audience. And now instead of queen takes, he plays g takes. The engine says they're equally good. All right. So black wants to play rook g8, rawr, and castle queenside. Fabi came here to win. Rawr, he's mad. Very suspicious play. It reminds one of Talbot Vinnick when in the Alekhine he played g takes f. White did. Go, everybody. Very suspicious. Okay, this is the last game of the match. And in the other match, they're playing game 3 of 4. So their match is going to go a lot longer. They had a 40-minute break while they yelled at each other. All right. So Fabi wants to castle queenside. Fabi wants to play f5. Fabi wants to play rook g8. And for that, he's getting sort of a messed up pawn structure. And the engine says equal. Why is the Ukraine weak? Well, that's not how you spell weak. That's how you spell, like, the week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And it's because it's a Seinfeld quote. But thanks for asking, drunken soul. Fabi is not playing f6. He played g takes f6. No rule against that. Did Naka win the last game? He did. All right. And they're racing to this position that Naka always gets. I guess don't Naka until you try it. This is like every Naka game this tournament has started this way. Yep. Bishop a6, castles, queen c8. Okay. So we've seen like rook c1 from Magnus, knight a4 from Ali Reza, and now rook e1. And then after takes here, rook b1. Rook e1, then rook eb1? All right. I don't know. That seems like an unusual way to do it. Hikaru's up 1.5 to 0.5, and Magnus is up 2.5 to 0.5. Play queen d7. Maybe both sides will castle queenside. God damn, you don't see that too often, especially in double king pawn. So this position's pretty equal, and this position I think is slightly better for white. Not much. Takes, rook c8. He wants to do his bishop c7 again, I guess. Etc. Mainly, etc. Somebody in the chess.com chat is asking if the chess24 site is down. What? Man, harsh. Who won Naka or Fallujah? Naka's up 1.5 to 0.5. This is game 3. So that's right. Jan just stole my C4 is explosive joke. No, lawsuit. Chess24 not down yet. That's right. That is funny. All right, this isn't super exciting. Yay, he did what I said. He castled queenside, which probably Magnus will also do. It's the most equal of positions. The 4 knights does have a reputation for being equal unless they play some crazy pawn sack lines, which they did not. Yeah, 4 knights followed by h3. That's not. Okay, Magnus plays the anti-engine move, proving he's not cheating, giving away the d4 square. Fabi has the most doubled pawns, so he wins. Now he could play bishop b5, so the knight can never go here because he can take it. And after rook f8, he played knight d2 again. Always putting his knight on b3, preparing for e4, etc. Mainly, etc. And he played c3, a shocking move. That move really surprised me. It does stop knight d4, but it sort of softens this up a little bit. d3 is pretty weak now. Gave himself a weak pawn. They traded. Hard to castle queenside now. You have to play rook d1 and then move the king around the rook. That's how you castle queenside now. That way it's not through check. All right, and the engine prefers black because white can't castle queenside. It's illegal. If it castles kingside, black has a g file. So the engine's doesn't like what Magnus did with taking on c5 and c3. He's not winning, it just prefers black. It's hard for Magnus probably to play 100% strength. He already won the match. Even if he's trying to play 100%, he knows without knowing that, match is over, I won. Queen d1, the engine doesn't like that and says this is completely equal. It preferred moving the queen to a random square and thinking black had the advantage. Now it thinks black doesn't have the advantage anymore, just all zeros. Actually, every move is all zeros. Rook g8, f4, f takes e4. It's hard to predict what move he'll play when they're all the same. I mean, f takes e4 tries to win a pawn, but trying is the first step to failure. I play knight d2, f5, g4, and black's pawns just fall. Rook g8's interesting. Try to take this pawn. f4 keeps the pawns from being traded. And some trading here at knight d2. They traded rooks. Hikaru wants to trade more rooks. And the engine says it's equal. It's the first time so far that Hikaru hasn't done this. Now, he might do it later, but he hasn't done it yet. Every other game he was doing this. Now the engine prefers black because he can take this, and play e5. Then you do want the bishop on e7, so you're attacking the c5 pawn. So Hikaru had no trouble this game. It's just completely equal. White doesn't have any advantage. And Fabiano's not going to move. I refuse to move. That was an unusual decision, trading on d1 for Fabi, because white can't castle queenside, and if white castles kingside, black has a g-file to attack the king. So queen takes d1 was a very strange decision. I don't like that decision. All right. And this is just equal. I can't imagine either side losing this. And this is also equal, but either side can lose. This is more interesting. He's in school. Go school. I mean, boo. That's what I meant. Prez says school's for losers. No. Good Simpsons reference. You have all the fun of sitting still and being quiet and taking notes. Ali Reza can't really take a draw here. If Ali Reza draws this game, he has to win game 4. This is game 3 of the match. Yeah, you guys are like school in summer, no class. All right, all that stuff happened, I said. Knight d2, f5, g4, and engine says every move is all zeros. Rook f8. Good, good. Yeah, nobody's going to lose this position. Those guys are too good to lose this position. I would lose either side, but these guys won't lose either side. Fabi wants to play knife f4. You call that a knife? But I mean, white's going to take and take on e4, and then the pawn structure is pretty symmetrical. And they both have a rook and a knight. Yeah, it's like they're racing to a draw. Very hard for either side to lose this position. They can try, but they'll fail miserably. The lesson is never try. It went pretty fast there. It went takes, b6. Probably he'll play rook g1. That would be my guess. And nobody's better here. So if nobody blunders, should be a draw. And nobody's better here, but there's a lot of play. There's a lot of pieces of the position. In fact, the engine prefers black here by taking, and playing e5. And Hikaru's thinking for a long time, so he's trying to evaluate that. Okay, he played bishop d8 because he always does. I was saying this is the one game he didn't do it, and then he did it. He likes playing bishop d8 to c7. In the engine line, they trade everything. Trade rooks, queen a2, keep trading. That's less exciting. And Hikaru wants to play bishop c7 later and trade bishops. All right, he did play rook g1 as predicted. Knight g6, king e3, king d7. For some reason, it doesn't like what black did. What did black do? It wants to play rook h5. That attacks this pawn and defends this pawn. And then it says equal. It does not like king d7 because after knight here, you're attacking this pawn. You can't defend it with the rook. And if you move it, then you're opening up this line for the rook. So the engine says after knight g5, white has a substantial advantage, and king d7 was a bad move. It says rook h5 is just all zeros. Defending this pawn, attacking this pawn. But after knight g5, white has a big advantage. And he did play knight g5, and this is a problem. If I move this pawn, then the knight's not defended. So the correct move here, which is not allowed by the Chess24 server, is rook h5. That's the right move. But they won't let him do it. So, terrible. So Fabi loses again. Boo, boo. I mean, after h6, knight f7 is good for white, threatening everything. Rawr. And black struggles to draw. Still should draw, but struggling. And they traded rooks. And queen b7 is the engine move. And it says it's about equal. I mean, Hikaru always has this position, so it's typical for him. Sometimes his pawn's here, sometimes it's here. He's always playing this. They always trade all the rooks. He's probably pretty happy. Cy Bradbury gifted a sub to Dan the Man, the Pokemon. Magnus versus Fabi score. Magnus is up 2.5 to 1/2. So he's already won the match. They've played 3 games. Naka and Fruscia's only played 2 games due to the vagaries of the system. If you don't like this, Greg Shahadi's playing Zatonsky right now in the I am not a GM. To show solidarity with me, they're playing on Chess24. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so he played queen a4. He's like, come on, Naka, play b5 already. And Naka's like, all right. And white has the smallest of advantages. Okay, so the engine says white's better after knight f7, but he played knight f3. Knight f7 seems to just win a pawn. You're threatening this pawn, and if you take it and I take, then that seems really good for white. So I'm not sure why he didn't play knight f7. He played knight f3, and that's nothing because my rook can go here later again. All right. So the engine does not like knight f3. I'm not sure why Magnus didn't play knight f7. That seems to just give him the advantage. But he must not have thought so. This is claiming there's a perpetual coming. After king e6, if the white rook does anything, then knight g2 check, knight f4 check is a draw. Obviously, you can't play knight g2 check if the rook stays on g7, but I guess then black can play rook h5 and take the h3 pawn. Or play rook f7. No, rook f7 loses. So king e6 is better than king d6, but only by a little bit. For a human, it seems like king d6 is better. So I'm guessing he plays king d6. Yeah, and this is equal still. I'm not sure why Magnus didn't play knight f7. He might have thought this was really good for white. Maybe. All right, so queen a3, knight e8, always retreat. Good, good. And white has more space. White's a little better. Did play king e6. h4, saving his pawn. So Like the main engine line is this. Knight g2. You can't play king here because rook check wins the knight. You have to play here. And then check. And you can't move the king away from the knight because I play knight e6 attacking the rook. And then my rook attacks your knight. So this is forced. So that might happen. King f6 leads to an immediate draw according to the engine. That could happen. It's possible. And he played king f6. The only way to not draw like that is to play rook g8 to stop knight g2. And then black plays knight e6, has nothing to worry about. The knight defends the c7 pawn. It stops rook f8 check. The white knight can't move anywhere good. Black can play rook f4, rook takes h4. King e4. Ooh, that's an interesting move. If king takes rook, white's probably winning. Yeah. That's a pretty cool move. Man, the engine line is nuts. The engine line's nuts. Look at the engine line. Knight here, rook check. King e6. God damn. What a cool engine line. Check, check, draw. That's really funny. Wow. I hope that happens. That's really awesome. That's hard to see. Knight d3 accomplishes the same thing, which is even cooler because all the pieces are hanging. But you can't take the knight because you take this. And this is the same. Wow. What a cool draw. And then here, and draw. Man, I hope that happens because that's really awesome. Okay, so Fabi's thinking either one of these moves draws. And after this knight d3, white's better because white's king is better. Probably winning for white. Probably. So Fabi has to find one of these moves. Ali Reza likes to play e4 as soon as possible. Good, good. White has the most space, so he wins. Problem with e4 is it weakens d4. When he played e4 last time against Naka in a similar pawn structure, it weakened his f4 pawn. But Firouzja didn't move his kingside pawns this game. He did it. He played knight d3. Go Fabi. That's pretty cool. So king e6 draws and king takes f7 draws. But king e6 is way cooler. So let's hope he does that. That's way cooler. Yes, and king takes f7, probably white's a little better. A little bit. Another cool draw, other than the one I showed you, is this. This is also a cool draw. That's pretty good. I'm getting a text from Magnus's manager. Magnus was born in the sign of water, so he's looking for a cool draw. It's time for a cool draw. Wow. I don't get it. I know that it's time for a cool draw. Huh. Interesting. That's what happened. They actually did this cool draw. That was nice. That's nice how all the pieces are hanging at the end and it's a draw. All right, back to whatever it is happening here. Anybody get my song? Anybody? I'm out of Perrier. I'm all out of Perrier. I'm so thirsty. I should have put some in the fridge. More way this joke is funny. A Cool Island song. Sorry. All right, white's a little bit better still. Tiny little better. Not much. Did they agree to a draw? Let's see here. Magnus could still... Okay, Magnus plays for the win, although this is the other draw. So instead of playing that draw, Magnus plays this draw. Yeah, nobody can deviate from this draw. So this will be a draw. Yeah. Are you guys uploading more lectures of you soon? We upload lectures every day. We can't upload more. If you go to the Chess Club YouTube page or my YouTube page, there's infinite lectures of me and they're uploaded every day. We can't do more, sorry. All right, and they agreed to a draw, or they claimed a draw, or the end, whatever, I don't know. That's a pretty good game. All right, so Magnus wins 3-1. His match is over. This match not only is not over, there's another game after this one. So if Naka wins this game, which is unlikely, he wins the match. And if he draws or loses, the fourth game is very important. 200 centidues. Yeah. My lectures are the best. Yeah. I don't know who Ted is, so I'm not going to talk to him. Yeah. Exactly. You couldn't find my Lasker lecture. I don't know, but I'll ask her. All right. The engine says all zeros. Material's equal. It's pretty blocked up. Not much is happening. I don't know what the time situation is. Anybody have a time situation? Anybody? That's right. Never try. Yeah, actually, Karen bought me glass bottles of Perrier at home, and then I drank all of them. Truth hurts. 8:30 to 8. Oh, my God. This is the match that doesn't end. Are Gronk and Brady good anymore? No. They are old. No. But people like the comeback. What do you do with the bottles? Hey, what I do with the bottles is my own business and Karen's, not yours. Too many commentators. Rawr. Another train. There's time for another train? Man, I didn't realize that. Thanks for the sub, Q Foxy. I think you're going to sub now. Best player in the NBA right now or ever? What do you mean? The scam train. Time for scam train. I know that it's time for a scam train. Now that my life is just scam trains, I know that it's time for a scam train. 300 centidues. Raindrops keep falling on my head. That was a good movie, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Very good. See, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is a good lesson for everybody. Because in that movie, you learn the rules for a knife fight. You got to know the rules. 200 centidues, Cy Bradbury. It's the same 5 or 6 people always donating. Yay. The other 1,400 are like, eh. Giannis is pretty good. Yeah. 300 centidues, Pinky Jim. All aboard. Is this like the ghost train from Rick and Morty? Knight D6 was played. Attacking the queen. He'll probably move the queen. Queen D7 is the engine move. 500 centidues from Cy Bradbury. Go Pinky Gin. Mana Manam is 100 centidues. Use the ghost train. Yeah, some of the people in Better Call Saul look older than they did in Breaking Bad, even though it's supposed to be before Breaking Bad. But some of them look older. Like Mike looks older. Mike's looking old. And obviously, yeah, Gus Fring's also looking old. Dancing Tortoise gave 1, 2, 3, 4. Good, good. Who Darker? Yay, it's Darker gave subscribed again. Hooray. It's filmed after. Exactly. Man, he's calling me a dum-dum. Man. All right, and we'll time him out for being an idiot. Trying to learn gifted a sub. Hooray. If you've seen the movie Do the Right Thing, which is, I think, 89, the Spike Lee movie, is it Radio Raheem? One of the actors in the movie, that's Gus Fring. It's just it was 30 years before. So, yeah. Go Gus Fring. Looks a little different. Knight d6, takes. Yeah, the engine doesn't like knight takes d6, giving white the passed pawn. But, Hikaru likes to mix it up. Winning chances for both sides. But the engine likes white now because I got a passed pawn. Also, I got c5 for my knight. So the engine is not a fan of Hikaru's decision to do that. Not a fan. Hikaru's like, look, I got this. What's the problem? I'll win this pawn. I'll stack paper to the ceiling. Account 1000 subscribe. One hit blunder gave 901 centidues. The ruling Boris Shack was the game ended in a draw. That was the ruling. It was a Spike Lee joint. Correct. Not Radio Raheem. Yeah, I know he's one of the guys. I don't know. He's still in the movie. Radio Raheem's somebody, like Bill Nunn. Is that who Radio Raheem is? Was he Bill Nunn? I think it was Bill Nunn. But anyway, Gus Fring is in Do the Right Thing, whether you like it or not. Rawr. Should chess be in the Olympics? 100 centidues. If you keep giving me 100 centidues, then yes. You got to keep doing it. What happened in the first game? Hikaru Furuja first game was declared a draw. Hikaru won the second game, and Hikaru made a mistake this game by giving him a pass pawn. That was unnecessary. He should have just played queen d7. So now after knight b3, knight c5, white has good winning chances. That's, pretty good for white. Bad decision by Hikaru, letting him do that. Yay, 4 cents. Well, it is a hard position, but not now. You put the knight on c5. What else are you going to do? There's nothing to do other than do this. I wouldn't consider anything else. It could be Hikaru takes that and just doesn't do anything and says white can't break through. Even though white has this pawn, it's stopped. The bishop can't help, so he thinks it's just a draw. So maybe he's right. I don't know. Knight hungry, correct. 300 centidues, go Carol Baskin. Exactly. Where'd you hide the body? Bill Nunn. Yeah, I was right. Bugging Out. That's a good name. Gus Fring. Yeah, he looks and talks a lot different. 30 years. Harsh. Now, if you've ever seen Deadwood, which is a fantastic television show, okay, and if you've seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the Jack Nicholson movie, which was 35 years before that, the guy who plays the doctor in Deadwood, the doc, he's the guy who plays the kid in, he's not a kid, he's like 20, in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, who commits suicide at the end. Same guy. Gotcha, bitches. All right. Now it's clear that white will win because Hikaru played f6. Very suspicious. Very suspicious. Go Fallujah, beat f6. Never play f6. Spoiler alert from 40 years ago. 329 centidues. Good, good, good. Billy, that's right. Obaka 73. That was Billy. Yep. And Cuckoo's Nest. Brad Dourif is correct. Nurse Ratchet is who you're referring to. Dev Cadam. Well, Gus Fring is the name of the character in Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. Yeah, Deadwood's a great show. Fantastic show. Top 5 shows ever. Well, irrespective of how much time the players have, they have the 10-second increment. So they're always doing good in that instance. Knight c5, bishop c5, d c5. Good. I mean, this pawn's blocked, so I'm not sure how white wins. I know I want to have white. I just don't know what to do. I guess we're going to find out. That's why he played f6, play e5. Yeah, I don't think white has a good winning plan here. I guess I can go here and check and then play d7. He'll never stop that, except queen d7 stops that. Yeah, you guys had the same plan I did. Go Karen, 100 cent to do's. Karen did go, she go home. We told you. What'd you tell me? Oh, yeah. Yeah, but after queen d7, it's hard to play queen d8. It's hard to dislodge the queen because you can't play queen c7 or queen e7. Queen g4 seems rather difficult to achieve, and I could just trade queens and play king f7, king e6. Then the b4 pawn's hanging, so looks like a win for black. No, black could win, but it's not winning. 1,544 centidues, remembering my rating. Good job, Cy Bradbury. It's level 5 of the hype train. People of the world, join in. Join the hype train. Ali Reza is defending his pawn, so now the queen can go, do stuff. This has to be a draw, but the engine really likes white. But I don't see how he can break through. But maybe he just breaks through in 100 moves. He gets his queen somewhere, he puts his king safe, starts pushing his pawns, and maybe in 100 moves he wins. I don't know how, but the engine's like +1, but black has a pretty good blockade there. All right. Obviously, you want to see Firouzja win because we want to see a tied match going into game 4. Want to see an exciting match. Mr. Hardbiz gave 100. Mr. Fireman gave 101. 94%. Good. 42 centidues. Great. Exactly, Vinegar Bob. That's not Ali Reza's forte, is winning in 100 moves by squeezing. But, winning is winning. Hikaru knew what he was doing when he took on d6. He thought that pawn wasn't going to queen. So, all right. 200 centidues, 100 centidues, 59 centidues, 100%. Our best train ever. Another train. Level 6. Man, Magnus's match is over, and they went from 24,000 viewers to 17,000 viewers. The truth hurts. Another train. I have some trains in here. Some older trains. It's an older code, sir. Yay, it's trains. Emotes are being delivered to supporters. Go supporters. Am I a supporter? Knight f4. That surprises me a little bit. But all right. Then I can always go to d5 if he wants. What did I do on 420? I did the games live. Then I came back at night and did a recap. And I made videos in between. That's what I do every day. So, same thing I do every other day. Yeah, 420 was not so good. Not so good. Man, the engine really likes white. So, Naka decided d5 was no good for his knight and put it on e6. e6 is better? I agree with that. I don't agree with that. Because now white's bishop isn't tied to b4. See, with the knight on d5, white's bishop can't ever go to the king side because b4 is hanging. Now, if white pushes his king side pawns, his bishop can aid. And Carl's better than I am. He thinks the knight's better on e6 than d5. All right. Whatever. To me, this is just a draw. Like, black just sits there and does nothing. And the engine's like, white's up 1.8. So, I mean, obviously, this is the monster of all time. But, man, that's hard to promote. And that's like his only winning plan, is to promote this pawn. And it's not going to promote. But the engine's like, yay, I have a pawn on d6. All right. I mean, the only way for white to win is he's got to, got to do this, opening up his king. There he goes. Put it in H. If white wins, it'll be a billion moves. And white could lose. White could be like, rawr, and then blunder because he's trying too hard to win. And then the queen and knight come in and checkmate the king and fork and such. So he can go overboard. Possible. Unlikely. Bishop e3 paralyzes the knight. Good spelling of paralyzes. Talk about Iran. Iran's in the Middle East. Got the Persian Gulf over there somewhere. How was that? Anything else? Lots of good chess players. Hikaru's, yeah, that's right. Dr. DD777 is correct. Waiting for Firuz's internet to fail again. Very good. Did you like the movie Overboard? Did I see it? What about Iraq? Well, Fraggle Iraq. Correct. I don't know what cartoon that was, but I remember that. Was that Futurama? The Futurama or Family Guy? Family Guy, yeah. Wrong color rook pawn. That means the bishop doesn't control the square. So here, rook pawn goes to a dark square, and that's a dark square. So that's the right colored rook pawn. So if they get to bishop and pawn versus nothing, this is winning for white. Right now, that doesn't seem like it's important. Not in this position. Can I offer you an egg in this trying time? That's one of the top 10 episodes. That might be one of the top 3 or 4 scenes in all of Sunny in the limousine there, when Charlie's vomiting and he's like, "Can I offer you an egg?" I mean, he keeps vomiting on her. Like, Karen can't stop laughing at that. If she watches that, she has to laugh. If you paid Karen not to laugh, she would laugh. She has to laugh. That's a great scene. Can I offer you an egg in this trying time? Yeah. And then when she's screaming and he's throwing up, Dane DeVito's like, "Hey, we should go out sometime." So, all right, back to whatever it is I was doing. Okay, Queen C2. He wants to go to G6. Rawr. And Naka's like, no. Man, he can't come in anywhere. God damn. What's funny is, even if Firouzja cheats now and puts his queen in there, the knight defends the queen, so there's no threat. So, yeah. All right, so Firouzja's going to play G4 eventually and try to break open the position, although I'm not sure what that does either. So the engine loves white, but I don't see it. I don't see it. It's funny in Philadelphia. Yeah. Is F4 bad? No. F4 is probably okay. I assume G4. Got to bust that thing open. Probably King F2 first. Move your king up a little. Yeah, Naka's going to play queen here, and tell him you got nothing. You're all talking a badge. You might be right. All right, G4. The engine's like, white's winning. Hooray. Not sure why, but white's winning. Wants to play G5 and win these pawns, and G6 and mate him. I don't know. I don't believe it. Why doesn't Hikaru bully him into resigning? I think Hikaru's just, as he said, he's waiting for his time to run out. You'd think Hikaru would win. Firouzja's only 23.72. Come on. Come on, Hikaru. I just arrived. Naka's up 1.5 half, and this is game 3. Carlsen beat Fabi 3-1. 2 wins, then 2 draws. Where's all talking to badge from? It's from the Untouchables, 1987. I'm within a year. Robert De Niro tells Kevin Costner he's all talking to badge. Yeah. Did I say 87? I think it was 87. Correct. I saw that between the penultimate round and the last round at the 87 U.S. Junior Championship in New York City. And we saw it with Deluge, like almost all the players, like 8 of us went. We were at the Marshall Chess Club or the Manhattan Chess Club, playing like a blitz tournament, and then when it ended, we all saw Untouchables. I think that's what happened. Favorite Dire Straits song? I don't know. Well, White's crashing through, and Hikaru's queen has left d7. Queen a6 looks sort of silly. All right. And White has good winning chances, and Black has good drawing chances. 50-50. I mean, Firouzja did everything he could. G4, G5, Queen E4, Bishop E3. All right. Can't ask for more than that. Yeah, the problem is if Naka gets his queen in there, there's all kinds of perpetual checks if Firouzja decides to take on C6. White king doesn't have a lot of defense. But okay, the game is very interesting now. So Firouzja's happy. Wow, king f7. King f7? That's not really related to queen a6. Yeah, h5. Well, 2 passed pawns. All right, now. Yeah, now White's winning. The 2 passed pawns is too many passed pawns. Yeah, king f7 was bad. Yeah, now I think he'll win. Because there's two passed pawns. Yeah, it's 2 brothers. 2 passed pawns. Yeah, now I don't like king f7. Bishop f2. I don't like bishop f2 either. Bishop's better on e3 than f2. Bishop f2 is very defensive. It's trying to stop checks, but bishop on e3 stops checks on the 3rd rank, and you should be pushing this pawn. So I don't like this move. Thing is, if Hikaru wants counterplay by moving his queen and moving his knight, which is counterplay, then he's letting this pawn go, and he's giving away this pawn. So before, Naka was just chilling and White couldn't break through. Then White broke through, and Naka's giving away his blockade to get counterplay against the White king. All right, I don't know. It went from like, I'm pretty sure I can draw this, you can't break through, to I have counterplay and I can checkmate you or perpetual you, and you can break through. So the game got a lot more interesting. Does anybody know the time situation? Anybody? What's my favorite scene in Blazing Saddles? All of them. Man. Too many good scenes. What in the wild, wild world is Queen B7? God damn, that's passive. Yeah, Naka keeps changing his mind. He's like, rawr, forget the blockade. I'm going to... And then he's like, all right, I'll blockade. Never mind. I don't like that decision. He went here. And he's like, nah, never mind. I mean, he's changing his mind. All right, king h2. The queen can never come in here. The king can't get checked on g4. Yeah, this is very bad play from Black. Now bishop e3 is really strong. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like the way Naka's playing this. White should win now. The bishop dominates the knight, and there's 2 passed pawns. Black's passed pawns are irrelevant. The c6 pawn needs babysitting. He should win now. What's the time? 30 seconds each? All right, it's 50-50 then. In a slow game, white's going to win. Now the engine says white's +4. So, all right, so king g7, queen c8, h6, king g3, queen d7. Man, 2 passed pawns. And black is very passive, defending this. But, okay, both sides have no time. So, white's winning in a slow game. But here, I don't know, because both sides have 20 seconds. I don't know what to tell you. Probably the right strategy is what Ali Rez is doing. Every 3 or 4 seconds, make a random king move and do it for like 15 moves and build up 3 or 4 minutes with the 10-second increment. That seems like a reasonable idea. I think that's what he's doing. He's just playing quickly with his king. Black's not doing anything. And Ali Reza gets more and more time. As long as he's playing quickly. If he gets 10 seconds to move and he moves in 3 seconds, he's giving himself some more time. It looks like that's what he's doing. No, that's considered very smart, building up time like that. That's very professional. Queen g4, queen b7, queen f5. Looks good for white. Weak pawn, passed pawns, better king, better queen. Papa John's. I like the engine line. Move the king around doing nothing. Good, good. Very tough to play black. Damn. A lot of passed pawns. D7? I don't know about D7. There's a queen and knight block in D7. Okay, he played bishop F2. It looks like he wants to move his king and play bishop H4, attacking the F pawn. I guess. The engine does not agree. Naka played knight D7, so if his queen starts running around, then queen takes F6 is in check. Okay, the engine says queen E4 is double question mark, and now F5 is equal, giving up the C6 pawn. Yeah, because the H pawn's not defended. So I have queen G6 check, and the H pawn's not defended. So now it's all zeros. So queen E4 was a blunder. He just overlooked F5. He thought the C6 pawn is attacked, so he won't let me take it. And then he's like, oh, queen G6 check. Okay, never mind. Yeah, the engine said queen G6 check was equal, and now it says white's slightly better. Well, I guess when the players both have 30 seconds, the result of the game is sort of random. Still better for white, but probably a draw. Yeah, this is a draw now, but nothing would surprise me. Obviously, Ali Rez is mad that he allowed F5. He didn't want to allow that. Okay, now it says F4 is better for black. And black's taking over. Those weak pawns that were ineffectual are now pretty good. And the H pawn's weak. Yeah. Yeah, Naka's, even though this is a draw according to the engine, Naka's going to win. Yeah. This is typical Naka stuff. Defends, then eventually wins. The engine still says this is a draw. But Naka's going to win. Naka was winning these positions before Fallujah was born. JCR 202-207 gifted a sub. Good, good. Yeah. Although I don't know what the time is. Naka 140 to 20 seconds? God damn. Making it more likely Naka will win. Yeah, white just got pushed back. I mean, he overlooked F5. He thought he could play queen C6, but then queen G6 check was good for black. Yeah, the truth hurts. This is still a draw, but I'm thinking Naka's going to win now. Man, what a crazy game. It's like really boring. That Naka gave him the pass D pawn. We didn't have to. And then white was squeezing, great, was winning, and then just played very wishy-washy and couldn't do anything. And then he allowed f5. The engine says this is all zeros. All right, I guess this is a draw, but I'll take black, obviously. I guess black can't do anything. All right. If it says all zeros, it'll probably be a draw, even if he has no time on his clock. If black can't do anything, black can't do anything. Knight d4. Why not? Knight d4. What? f3. Never play f3. Yeah, f3 gives some winning chances. That's a good practical try. That was good. The engine says all zeros, but now he's got chances to win. It's a draw, but now, keep trying. Trying is the first step to failure. Yeah, f3 gave him some good winning chances. That was good. Yeah. Well, I mean, black played f3. It wasn't f6, so that's okay. $1,340 viewer dues and no Magnus. Wow. Yeah, that's the plan dime bag, but it don't work because he has to lose one of his passers to do that. Yeah, the thing is his king can't, king's coming in. Bishop e7? What? Bishop e7? But after knight a6, you want to play bishop e1. Bishop e7? What? Wow, bishop e7 is really bad move. God damn. I mean, this is black's only plan, and you play bishop e1 and it's a draw. Wow, bishop e7. What a terrible move. I don't even know what to say. I have nothing to say. The reason it's funny is if the bishop is here, or here, you can defend the b pawn. And here it hangs the bishop, and he found the only square where you can't... What? I'm not saying he's losing, but that's crazy. Bishop e7 is crazy. It's so bad. Wow, bishop e7. What? He found the only way to hang his b pawn? Jesus Christ. Yeah, bishop d2 loses, it says. Yeah, now it says he's lost. Bishop e7? Wow, what a bad move. Always repeat. Wow, bishop e7. That's the worst move I've ever seen. Mouse slip? All right. I mean, the only plan for black was knight a6, knight b4, and white plays bishop e1. And he played bishop e7, allowing knight a6, knight takes b4. I got nothing. I can't even tell you how terrible that is. It doesn't even matter if black wins. And black's going to win. But if black doesn't win, it doesn't matter. That's so horrible. That's beyond horrible. I'm not sure if this is winning, but I suspect it is. Wow, bishop e7. God damn. Wow. Bishop e7. Hanging his b pawn. It was the only way to hang his b pawn. It was hard to hang your b pawn. It was so easy to defend. Now it says king d3 is plus 10 for black. And then e3, and then you take, then you just win. Yeah. Wow, that was so bad. Yeah, Hikaru was having fun. Gotta have fun. Yeah, now Hikaru can move around a lot and get some extra time, and then play king d3. Wow. He let him play knight takes b4. I mean, that's crazier than what happened in the first game when they refused to finish. This is even crazier. Yeah, I agree with case 111. I agree with that. Wow. Well, you can't check and take the bishop because the d7, the pawn queens. Worse than Magnus rook d2? Hanging mate against Ali Reza? Close. Rook d2 is a worse move technically, but like the brain, rook d2 in the brain is he missed queen g6. Bishop e7, did he miss knight a6 takes b4? How do you miss that? It's the only plan. It's easier to see knight a6 takes b4 than queen g4, queen g6 mate, sacking your queen. So this move is worse. On the other hand, Magnus had tons of time and missed it, and Ali Reza had no time. Magnus is the world champion. Ali Reza is 16. All right, well, Magnus did his worse. It's close, though. Yeah. Hikaru's technique isn't perfect, or even good, but, you know, probably still win. Yeah, he'll win. Well, you know, you got 10, 20, 30 seconds left. You blunder. That's the truth hurts. Wow. I'm so shell-shocked by bishop e7. I can't believe how bad that is. Yeah, Hikaru's b3 is a nonsensical move in this position. Oh, he wants bishop f2 to gain a tempo because you want white to lose a tempo instead of take on b3 right away. But he doesn't lose a tempo because e3 gains a tempo. So, okay. That's okay then. You know, take on c5 with check, put the knight back on d7, and push his two passed pawns. Good, good. Magnus said he saw the mate, but thought he had mate first. Oh, he saw queen g6 check, and he still played rook d2? Damn, harsh. Well, this engine wants him to play knight b7 and let his pawn go to d7, which I don't understand. Oh, because then when you win the bishop for the e-pawn, black has a perfect blockade. Okay, but yeah, that's very strange. So knight d7 is much more normal. King b3, wow. Oh, king b3, then push the c-pawn. Yeah, okay. I think he'll play e2. I don't think he'll play king b3. It says every move is plus 1,000, but still. I can't believe he gave up his b4 pawn. That's unbelievable. Like for the rest of my life, I'll be like bishop e7, knight a6. Wow. That's unbelievable. The only way black could ever win is knight a6 to b4, and then he allows it. And it was the only way to allow it. Damn, Hikaru played king b3. God damn, that's a good move. Yeah, good job. Good, good. Yeah, now the c-pawn's pretty strong. Pretty strong. So Hikaru's going to win the match. He'll be up 2.5 half after this game, and they still have to play game 4. So both matches decided in 3 games, sort of. King here, king here, and every move wins. Knight f8 wins, knight f6 wins, c3 wins. Okay, every move won. Didn't matter what he did. And can't even attack the knight. God damn. Harsh. Probably he'll resign in this position. Wow. Still theory. I mean, it was an interesting game. Naka wins in 93 moves, and he resigned. Wow, I want to go back to the position where I was so mad. I'll never be this mad again. Frying Pan Joe subscribed. So in this position, what I think happened, is he thought Hikaru was going to go here and draw. So he just played some random move, and he didn't see this. I don't know. Because this is he took a pawn. And then he found the only way to lose it. Like, there is no, like, bishop e7 is the worst move on the board. Okay, bishop f6 is worse, I guess. Yeah, like, I'm not kidding. If you go to an engine where you're allowed to add all the lines, like, engines usually default to, like, 2 or 3 lines. Like, this is the best move, this is the second best move. Most super GMs just set it to have one move, the best one. You can set the engine to look at every legal move, which I've done. So if you go to ChessBase or your engine and you tell it to look at every legal move on the board, bishop e7 is going to be near the bottom. It's going to be not the bottom, but close. Like, this is better, this is better, this is better, this is better, this is better. All king moves are better. I guess this is worse. And maybe this is worse. Maybe. Yeah, that's probably worse. Maybe. But yeah, this is the worst move ever. And you just lose the B pawn. That's amazing. And then this is close to a draw. This may be a draw, maybe not. Like maybe D7 draws, takes, maybe. Probably this is the best move. King takes E5. Try to draw 2 versus 1. But yeah, in like 6 moves, he was dead lost. Yeah. And then here he's losing. Yeah, this is winning for black. Wow, that was unbelievable he lost that. I mean, that's how I would lose. Terrible. Wow. Well, after D7, the knight takes on D7. You're just giving up your passed pawn. You're down a pawn. So that's also ridiculous. Damn. By the way, there were a lot of people, if you can call them people, that thought Ali Reza would win this tournament. Yeah, you guys forgot about those people. You guys are like, I always knew he'd come in last. Then you move your eyes back and forth. That's what you guys are doing. 200 centidues. Go bishop e7. Damn. He is the lowest rated player. Yeah. But they're like, man, Ali Reza beat Magnus in some blitz game, so he's the best. All right. Better than all the rest, except everybody else in the tournament. Damn. His connection failed again. Tricks are for kids. All right, in the chat, who's coming in last, Giri or Ali Reza? Vote now. I vote Giri. You people. Damn. Giri wins. It's the first time Giri ever won. Usually Giri draws, but in the chat, Giri wins. 50-50. Man, Giri crushed it. Man, you guys hate Giri. Good job. All right, it's the last game of the match. It's a Scandi. Hooray. Where's John Bartholomew? Etc. Nakamura played B4. God damn. What an insult. A B4 is a move. I faced B4. But, it's not a move at the Super GM level. It's a move, but not at the Super GM level. God damn. The engine says it's okay. You sack a pawn, you get some play. Queen D8, setting up for the next game. Yay, go Faruja. Yeah, I've had black against B4 in that position. I've taken a B4 to the face before. Yeah. Queen D8, that's funny. Setting up for the next game. All right. Firuza's like, I'm up a pawn. I'll put this pawn like here. Okay, then it would be like the black Mardimer, right? Yeah, let's put the pawn here. All right. And players are playing pretty fast. Bishop e6, double question mark. This game's over, by the way. The game ended. Bishop e6 is a blunder. In this position, the engine says white's almost winning here, like close to winning, because white has this monster attack and black is here, and bishop e6 loses immediately. Knight takes e7 wins, and knight takes f7 wins. And Ali Reza resigned. Yeah, that's just a blunder. Damn. As queen's attacked, yeah. This game's over. Ali Reza lost. You want to change your vote from Giri to Ali Reza now? Yeah, the game's over. He resigned. This is it. The round's over. I'm not saying that he will resign. He did resign. This game ended officially. Yeah, this game's over. Yeah, this move also wins. Bishop e6 is just triple question mark. Although, after c5, d5, the engine says white's already probably close to winning. Yeah. Yeah, he has to play knight bd7 and try to trade pieces. Yeah, this is terrible for black. All right, so let's analyze. If you play rook takes, for example, knight takes check, threatening the queen. And now rook takes and bishop takes and rook takes b7 win. They all win. This is the most winning. Then you're just dead. Yeah. There's no move here. And if you take with the bishop, then knight takes, queen takes, and bishop takes wins a piece. And white's up a piece. And your queen's hanging, and your bishop's hanging, and your bishop's hanging. Also winning for Naka was knight takes, queen takes, knight takes f7. This is also resigns, also. Because, you're getting crushed over here. Yeah. So, I guess Ali Reza had enough. And then he resigned. That's the end of the game. Damn. Wow. Not to waste time on their clock. Take with the king? Yeah, damn, that looks pretty dangerous. Now you have to take this, otherwise, why did you do that? And then this wins, and this wins. And this is forced mate, according to the end. Actually, they're all forced mate. The engine announces mate with every move. Wow. Check. Check. This is mate in 5 and this is mate in 6. I mean, I'm not going here. I'm not looking at that. Damn, this king's not too good. Yeah, the problem with bishop f6 is this is mate in 1. So, and this is mate in 1. So, I guess you got to go here. And then this is mate. The truth hurts. Yeah, so in this position, Ali Reza's queen d8 seems very strange to me. Why would you play queen d8 here? And then, otherwise he seemed like this is fine for black. And then c5 is just a blunder. Because d5 is probably winning. He has to play knight bd7 or c6. Either way is about equal. White's a pawn down, white has good compensation. But this is just winning. This is probably already lost for what? For black. Yeah. Probably Hikaru knows some of these ideas already from like analyzing b4 and playing some 1-minute games. Yeah. Do you lose intentionally? No. No. Although Ali Reza played like 23-72. Game 4 is important for tie breaks, but Ali Reza is not going to make the final 4. So it doesn't matter for him. It does matter to Hikaru. So it would be really bad sportsmanship to lose on purpose, which I'm sure he didn't do. Not for himself, because it doesn't affect him, but if Hikaru's tying for third or fourth, you can't just let Hikaru win game 4. So, yeah. He definitely didn't lose on purpose. He just, he didn't play well because he was mad about the last game. And he's probably mad about the first game. So, and then he lost the second game. So he's pretty mad. Basically, Ali Reza's mad about all 4 games. I mean, last game he shouldn't have lost. And then game 2, he lost, so he's mad because he lost. Game 1 was like decided 40 minutes after it ended. And then this game, he was just like, had enough. Yeah. Damn. That was a very strange, everything was very strange. Man. Now, let me tell you how the universe works. When the first game ended, it said Hikaru won, right? It said 0-1, and we were like, why? And then Ali Reza lost the connection. Did you predict at that point that that would be the only game Hikaru didn't win? That was the only game he didn't win, was the game that said he won. And that's the world we live in. All right, thanks for watching, guys. I'm the Confusist. Thanks for, donating and not donating, whatever you did. I think Carlsen's going to win the tournament. And then I'll be back tonight with a recap of the round, probably 9 p.m. Eastern, close to that. Check Twitter, check Discord, etc. Mainly, etc. See you guys tonight. Bye.